Audio is live. Get us
All
rolling.
right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Esports Ohio, presented to you by Baldwin Wallace. We are back with the Northeastern Regional of Esports Ohio. I am very excited for today. We've got Valorant and Rocket League on the slate. Starting off with some Valorant with Avon versus Avon Lake. I'm Lockwell and Wilson. I am here with,
Jeremy Planasek, error.
and we are going to get right into this first game here in just a minute as these teams are getting set. We have map bans.
I was going to say we do. For our maps for today's first series, we're going to be starting out on Lotus. Avon is going to be starting on the defensive side. Map number 2 is going to be getting us into a icebox that is going to have Avon Lake starting on the defensive side as we get in here right now for our agent selection for map number 1. And map number 3, if needed, will be split with Avon Lake starting on that defensive side. Should
All
be a
right.
good set of games so far. I've been able to do a little bit of research on these teams. Also, with me being from Avon myself, I'm a graduate of last year, graduate class of 23. I was on this team last year, and they've had a massive restructuring as our team last year involved 4 seniors. So looking over at the selection here and looking at the players that are left, Habibi is the only one that was retained from last year. The rest of these players were all on our academy roster, and they have been brought up to the main roster to fill those vacancies.
Mhm.
So I know these guys have a lot of experience. All of them have been playing for a very long time. And I want to say this team is full seniors, except for one who is going to be a freshman. I will have to get that name
Mhm.
in due time. I am not exactly familiar with these names. They use school accounts and then accounts for ranked. So I know them a little bit more by their ranked accounts than I do by their schools. But what I can tell you right now is a lot of these agent selections do strike me as par for the course for Avon. Having Habibi on that raise, having I Miss Her, Monkey, as I will probably be calling him a lot, on that Gecko, and having Straw on that KJ does check out with a lot of the things that they've been playing so far. Looking over to the side of Lake, which also applies to the side of Avon, it's pretty standard play coming out from both of them. Lake going for a little bit more of the solo smoke double initi. Um, Whereas the side of Avon has gone for the double smokes.
Yeah, going into this, we are excited to get into this first map, Avon versus Avon Lake. I'm really excited to see how these first 2 rounds go because, as you know, throughout Valorant, pistol rounds extremely important. You win pistol round, your econ set up for basically the rest of the half if you can keep that momentum rolling. So this pistol round going to be paramount going into this first game, and really could set the tone for the series. You look at the pros and you look at the stats and the pros, and um, a stat that is synonymous with teams winning series is teams winning pistol rounds.
Pistol rounds are always the most important. While them being the most random, they hold some of the most value that you can over a series. And what we see here very early on is going to be Avon playing a very aggro early setup. This is something that we ran a lot back when I was on the team and we ran Lotus. This very aggressive start here on this A side to take massive control off the rip. We're going to be seeing Avon Lake going for a little bit of a regroup, and it looks like they are going to be leading towards a seaside take here with just the KJ stuff set up and even just the mollies with both the alarm bot and the turret no longer being on the site. I stand corrected as the alarm bot was sitting right there. It's going to be a little bit of an easier site for Avon Lake to get into and to take a lot of that space that we are going to see, putting Avon onto the retake.
Yeah, pushing in here. Avon getting into C, get the plant down. We'll get 1 kill out of spawn. And then 2 trying to flank. 1 will be taken out, and it will be a 2v2 now, falling down. 1v1. Habibi pushing in from the attacker spawn.
And this last player is incredibly low. It's going to be very
Both
hard
sides low.
for Avon Lake to get this final kill, especially with that nade coming in with the reduced damage. Avon Lake is
He's gonna.
barely going to be able to. Getting off the bomb at the last second, but
Ooh,
still
that was
able to
close.
confirm it. Round 1 going the side of Avon. They looked a little, maybe a little bit slow out to roll, bringing that down to a 1v1. But still, they were able to secure that first round. And moving into their first buy, they're going to be looking to start up 2-0 and also start playing this dominant.
Yeah. Going into that first round, you talked about played a little slow, but I think that's something that we can probably expect from a lot of these teams, especially them this being their first games on these setups, first games at LAN for some of them. So that slow start, I feel like, is something that we're going to see a lot today, not only from Valorant, but probably from some of the teams when we have Rocket League later on. And going into the second round, what are you seeing? What are you thinking?
It's about the same setup from Avon off the start, and it's also about the same setup from Lake, having this solo lurk going up onto B, giving them a little bit of space here as they start to look towards what could be a round one take.
Going in, we are going to have a little bit of a slow start for this round, and once again, Avon is going to be regrouped looking for another C hit, most likely, although we do have one on the flank watching it, as we will have an encounter here. Rexy won't be able to get one, but now Avon is aware of the flank. But Avon Lake on defense is still going to play towards this B, and the flank is working out. iMr gets two. Now a 2v1v5, and it will be a second round for Avon Lake on the defense. Excellent play to be able to pinch them in from behind, letting them know of the flank potential. Second round where that flank has become a issue for this Avon squad.
I feel like a lot of these flanks. Well, also it's kind of just the map. Lotus is a map that involves a lot of flanking, a lot of counterplay because of it being a three-site map with a lot of pressure being put on those two side sites. You don't see a lot of plays into B. It plays similarly to how Haven played when it was still in the map pool, except we have a lot less kind of counterplay that's being brought out. There's a little bit less innovation on this map compared to something like a Haven. What we're going to be seeing is that early setup from Avon now starting to pay off. Habibi able to find two from the pocket in rubble, and although being supported by the rest of the Avon cast, they are going to fall off and give a little bit of space over to the side of Avon Lake as they move towards the potentially a plant on the A site.
In this round, we look at a 3v4 Avon. They are in on a, not quite on site, but towards a, what would you call that? What, almost tree, but not quite?
It's a stairs
Pushing
hold.
into tree? What do you call it?
Lake is moving into tree, yes. Avon is more solo player for Avon here. The Gecko was sitting just outside stairs trying to get a little bit of spam damage.
I guess I shouldn't say Avon. It's Avon and Avon Lake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Avon
this
and
is going
Avon.
to be a fun cast as we move through it.
This will be a cast and a half. Looking at this retake from Avon though, it's been actually like very good to find. The initial find of two early on in the round was something that is massive to the success of Avon in this round. But now their low buy has been turned into essentially a full buy with the amount of rifles that they were able to pick up, and finding that third round, which is crucial because that has, at this point, as we look over to the scoreboard, that is going to be putting Lake in the hole as far as it comes to the econ status. Not allowing them to really get much of a full buy, if anything, coming out this round.
Yeah, maybe one gun, maybe two.
We're going to be looking at a lot of half buys, a lot of Spectres and some Sheriffs here as they look to get some value. But this is something that we're probably going to be seeing more of that pressure come out, and something that I would look towards is Lake potentially getting a response on one of these rounds where they feel like they can get some sort of foot in the door and then just be able to take them out. It's also one of the big things where we're also seeing, again, this early round setup from Avon come out. It appears that this is their game plan on this defensive side, and it does not appear that they're going to be changing much of anything up as it comes to this early round setup.
I mean, why would you change it? You lost, you won 3 rounds straight. I mean, you've given up two bomb plants, but you've gotten defuses pretty quickly, pretty surely. I mean, round 1, yeah, it was a little close. You're like 25 health away from it, but either way, great round as we are going to see Lake push onto this A site. Habibi getting one into, iMr getting one back as well, and it will turn into a 2v5 for Lake. Pozzoli? Something like that. Won't be able to get one. Rexy will be able to get 2 back. Good value out of the Sheriff.
Yeah, good finds from the Sheriff by the peek out there from the rays of the side of Avon Lake, just not quite finding the value
Oh,
that it needed to. The satchel being a little bit off placed, kind of leading to those 3 kills. And although Rexy gave what he could to get some value back, it is going to be a 4th round for Avon on the board. Expected with the bye, them having the full economic advantage. And now if we look at that econ, they are fully in the driver's seat. They have full buys for at least the next 2, if not 3 rounds, with the bank being saved up on the sides of Straw, Rabbit, and Pookie. That is going to be giving them a ton of value. And even if Lake was able to punch up and find this round, they're going to have to contend with another full buy in this next round. And as we look towards the start of this round, it looks like Lake is going to be going for a full seaside take, which this might be a weakness that they've spotted with Avon playing a full give and retake C setup, with the only one being Straw on that close angle through waterfall, looking towards site, but with no real way to contend with the site cross. It is just going to be a full give and retake setup.
good smoke, and the ult coming out from the sky. Now will be a sure plant here for Lake on the C site now. Mr. will get one back. Habibi one more for Avon as they push in here. Habibi pushing in from all sides. Pinch on the other side. Rabbit gets one. And it will be a 2v5 once more. They'll get 2 back. Straw, one more for the Lake side, but will go down to Pookie. And it will be a 5th round.
Yep.
5th round.
Another round for Avon, and another round that's showing a lot of the signs of what is to come in this game. Avon going for a lot of those relatively early wraps from the A side over to the C, and that crunch has been something that they have not been able to figure out. And this timeout, I would assume, is symptom of exactly that. Lake has not found an answer to these responses here from Avon. They've just been going on that flank, and they have just been finding a ton of value as far as it comes to
the retakes.
Yeah, the retakes. It's just been, they've been finding value on the flanks or not. They've just been getting a ton of pressure that's been applied from having those 2 people in the back line. And honestly, when we look at the scoreboard, 2 of the highest performing mechanical players, Habibi at 10 and 3, I miss her match going toe for toe 5 and 3, and having Pookie Bear not being on that flank, that 6 and 1 player being able to push out from just the main side and being able to apply a lot of pressure there. You have 3 of the highest performing fraggers on the side of Avon, just able to maul anyone that really comes in contact with them. And it's something that has been shown throughout this series so far. Again, we're only 5 rounds into the first map, and if this is the game plan for Avon on all of their maps, Lake needs to find an adaptation, and they need to find it fast. Because if they aren't able to figure out a way to crack it, and whether it's playing a little bit more gimmicky for those flanks or potentially playing a little bit slower and trying to catch those flanks out on the rotate, it is going to be something where we're going to be seeing Avon just start to run away with this score, even more than they already have.
Yeah, most definitely. If you were to like pick an adaptation, like if you had to make an adaptation, you were coaching Lake here, what would you tell him to do?
I would call him to play slow and, well, not do that for starters. The run out there, I respect it. I like the trying to catch him on the timing, especially with Habibi going for the satchel play every round. I like that idea. It just ends up not working out with Habibi, and I miss her ending up to playing back. And this Viper on the B site is still going to be able to find value taking out Fudge Cakes. But if I was coaching Lake, I would be calling for them to play a little bit slower and to play a little bit more gimmicky, try to play in these more rad angles, because what's happening is these flanks are finding value, and you know that the only 2 people who are on this site are going to be that Raze and they're going to be that Gecko. So it's something where you would look towards playing like that. And as you look towards the side of Avon Lake, they're going to be moving over towards this C side. The KJ util is still up here. The turret isn't, but the boombot there able to clear out the corner, and the alarm bot able to find a lot of value onto Cyro, able to get him down to 30 as he gets vulnerable and jumps into his own nade. A little bit of, not necessarily a misplay, but one of the issues with playing pace onto this site. And we're going to be seeing just a cleanup there.
Immediately taken down. You get the plant down, you think you got an angle, and immediately Pazolite just comes through, takes both down. They were sitting on top of each other, kind of setting up for that collateral, but still just immediately take down by Avon here. And a 6th round in favor of Avon. And I do agree that the gimmicky slow style, maybe even just like a default, just call it default, everybody just hold an angle, get a pick and play off of it. I think that would do more for them than what they're doing right now, but we will see them set up for another C hit here. It seems like C is going to be like their comfort site, because I mean, A, they're not getting a lot of attractive hits. B is like always a chokehold. It's very hard to get into B. And C, they know that they can get bomb down, so they're just hoping. I believe the hope here is to get the bomb down, and then just the post plant goes better than it has.
Yep. And I mean, this is something where it's like the early round, they probably noticed that the C hold is a little bit weaker than the other two, but the issue with that C hold being weaker is because they are playing for that retake. We're going to see Rexy play aggressive and take out the Viper on the side of Avon, and actually find a second here comboed with that Gecko utility, now giving Lake their first man count advantage I think they've had since pistol round. So incredibly tight series. Rexy now playing in the corner. Fudge Cake's able to find one onto the Omen.
Big kill.
Rexy getting an incredible flank, leaving Straw in that 1v4 here. And in all honesty, normally in these types of situations, I'd be calling for a save. But with the money that you have in the back pocket, I don't think the save makes a lot of sense. You can go for a big type of play, potentially play a little bit more damage, because Avon Lake is in a massively breakable situation. Most of their players, Derpy is going to be able to rebuy, but I think that's mainly going to come from the assist of another player. So I would have gone for something more like exit plays here. It's still a good play. It's still a good round. Keeps Avon's numbers up and keeps them still in the driver's seat with their economy. But you've given Lake a potential way back into this game, giving their players a little bit of a bank down to the point where all these players, even if they lose the next round, are going to be able to rebuy into that.
One of the things I talked about right off the bat when we first started was how much the econ matters in this, and being able to break your opponent's econ, you really put yourself in the driver's seat. And I don't think that Avon has pulled themselves out of the driver's seat. They definitely still have control here, but they've given Lake a chance to claw themselves back here.
They've left the door a little bit open, and it's a matter of how Lake responds to that is going to be really the determining factor in how this match plays out. And we're going to be seeing an adaptation here going over towards that A side here from the side of Lake. Going to be able to find one detain, and Cyro playing a little bit ahead of the timing that was expected by IMSR, able to find one onto the round. And now it's a clean 3v3 situation, and this is something where we need to see some adaptations from the side of Avon Lake. They've been in these tight situations before, in these close situations, and they just have not been able to find the most value out of them, especially when it comes to something like these types of retakes. Cyro able to go 1-for-1, but that is going to be leaving the side of Derpy Blobfish in the 1v2 clutch, and unable to find one. The nade combo with the watch onto tree is going to find the 7th round for Avon.
Yeah, I think the superior thing here that we're seeing out of Avon that's letting them be able to take all these retakes is just that the retakes are very synergized. You can tell that they've played with each other a ton, and that the communication is there. When nading, when peeking, they do it at the same time. They were able to get that trade and then get an extra, and leading into that 2v1 at the end. Giving them those opportunities, giving them the advantage even when the bomb is down, has been what's given them these 7 rounds that they've had, and the dominant chokehold they have on Lake at the moment.
Yep, it shows a lot of coordination here, and now we're going to be looking towards this round with Avon Lake on a little bit of a mixed buy here, with a few players who can buy into the next round, but a few players that very much cannot. They're going to be looking for any value they can, and potentially a little bit of an overstep from the Gecko on the side of Avon, unable to find any players on that aggressive solo play here, but it is going to be Habibi sitting in the smoke looking for an overstep from the side of Avon Lake, but it is not looking like they're going to go for that. He goes for one, isn't able to find one on the aggressive play, putting Avon Lake into another 3v3 that instantly gets turned into a 2v3. It's going to come down to Fudge Cakes and the KJ on the side of Avon Lake here to get the full retake. And the first one comes out from Fudge Cakes, putting him up, and it's now left to a 1v1. The Viper on the side of Avon being the last one alive, having to put this round together. It seems like he knows where both players are, checking this back sight. This KJ is going to play deep, and he's unable to find the one tap. One bullet left in the chamber. Able to find it, but putting him on very low time, and Fudge Cakes is just able to play the clock. The round is going to go in the favor of Avon Lake, sorry. And it is going to be the full kills on the side of AHS, putting Avon Lake giving them a little bit more leeway there.
Yeah,
And that was
I
it.
would like to apologize to Fudge. I said, "Where is he?" And then his positioning won themselves the round.
Yep.
So, I mean, obviously he knows a little bit more than I do at this moment.
Yeah.
But that positioning, like, it worked because it did what you wanted them to do before. The adjustment you said where they play the wacky angles, the wacky angle got them a pick, brought it down to a 2v1, and then the last one, I believe it was Rabbit, just had to go back and forth, figure out where they wanted to go. Unfortunately, did not have that many bullets left in the mag, got the one, could not get the second, and it was a second round in favor of Lake.
Yep. And things like that are adaptations that you like to see. It's things that I think could have come faster. Again, the second round coming out in round number 9. It's things where if you want to be a team who's going to be moving up and potentially taking out the likes of Avon, you need to start bringing those adaptations faster. And it's something where I will look towards later in this map, but also across the entire series to look towards how Avon responds to the pressure that's being put on by Lake, along with how Lake responds to a lot of the pressure that is being applied by Avon. We have Habibi here posted up on the angle with that wall coming up from his own side. He's able to find the first pick onto the Gecko, but Fudge Cakes is going to potentially provide a lot of an issue with that TP. Whether it was called or not, he's now in the site and has a ton of space just to play around with. Habibi able to find a second and keep that bomb on the ground, looking for the no-scopes onto the third, is able to find it. Yep, 3 kills in the round. The Viper of Avon able to find 1, but Fudge Cakes here finds 2. This is now doable, 1v2 here. A little bit risky with that TP there, and is going to start getting pressured by the 2 of Avon. Finds the 1 with 3 bullets left in the magazine. He's going to go for the reload. He's going to go for the slow play. Habibi now with the AWP here. Not the best weapon to be having in this type of situation, is going to be playing the close angle with the shorty. And this is exactly what you want to see.
Man.
Able to find the 4th and close the round out for Avon.
2 4Ks on the opposite side here.
Yeah.
Habibi just able to get the 4K with the op and the shorty. I'm surprised that, I believe there was a Vandal or something on the ground around there. I'm surprised he didn't pick that up in favor of the op.
Yep.
In that situation. Either way though, worked out. Great play. Because he knew that they had to grab bomb, do where bomb was. Let them try to grab bomb. Immediately got the kill, took the round. 8th round in favor of Avon as we are 2 rounds out of halftime. And going into this round, I mean, if Lake gets 1 here, we got 9-3 curse on their side.
I mean, we do, but also the thing that I'm seeing from the side of Avon is just on their defense especially, I'm seeing a lot of proactivity. With that early A setup that we were seeing a lot earlier in the game, we were seeing a lot of them just being willing to just straight jump at people. And what could be a fight here from Spyro, maybe showing a little bit of aggression from Lake here. Going for the pick, unable to find it, will now put Lake down a man in this semi-important buy here. Going into that last round, this is a buy that definitely reads a buy for last here. They have enough money to buy full util and buy heavier rifles going into that last round, which is going to be very important, securing that third, potentially giving you a little bit of a leg up, and depending on how your defense is, potentially even giving you a map win. But this is a situation where you don't want to put all your eggs into the we get the third here. You want to put your eggs into the we get the last. And we're seeing that not only replicated by the buy, but also the play, going for the kind of the aggression here. Early round, moving back into the A aggression. But Avon has 3 players here. They're all set up. They're all ready for this type of play. And Rexy able to get the cross. Derpy able to get another one. But the Omen for the side of Avon able to find 1, leaving them in a 2v4. And as soon as I say that, the KJ and the Gecko from AHS, or from Avon Lake, starting to fight back, starting to get a little bit of pressure. And this is where the Gecko pick comes in handy. That Wingman is able to get the plant without committing a player to that bomb, now leaving them in a 2v2, leaving the Gecko in that opportune space in the side of tree, while the KJ for Lake is able to play in the corner.
This is a lot of alt committed here for this 11th round, although it is very important.
Yeah.
And the KJ will go off, and it will look like as the
going for the knife.
I mean, you have to respect it. If you get caught in the KJ, I mean, what are they gonna do? As it will be a 9th round in favor of Avon here. Lake will have the bye for the final round of this first half, as you previously stated. But going into this final round, how do you like to play the final round? Do you like to switch it up? Do you like to play it how you usually been playing? What are you thinking?
It really depends kind of on how the team that I'm playing against works. I was gonna say, as somebody who's taken up a lot more IGLing roles, especially now, in a lot of the teams that I've been working with,
Hmm.
I've like spent a lot of time in games trying to figure out how to play final rounds. It depends on what the enemy team is letting you get away with. If that you're being let to play your game plan, which Avon is not, they're playing this very constricting play style. The side of Avon Lake needs to go for some sort of adaptation here, as we see the pace from Avon being brought back out. But if I was Avon, or if I was Lake, I would be going for some sort of switch up, which this very much is. Uh, Using the Viper ult here, committing the Viper ult to this site take, and then instantly rotating into the C is incredibly good. But
Ooh.
the break on the KJ lockdown for the side of Avon shows exactly the thing that we've been worried about with this C take, and it's exactly the thing that we need to see changed by the side of Avon Lake. There is two here on the flank, and it's Habibi and I Miss Her, two of the best performing players on the side of Avon, along with the the support from the Viper from the side of Avon. We're now going to be seeing a little bit of that pressure come in. Habibi missing two with that shorty, putting Lake what would have been in a man-up situation, but instantly Avon finding two, leaving Derpy Blobfish and the side of its Rexy in the 2v1, and now it's down to the 1v1. The side of Habibi being able to potentially stick the bomb.
Wow, what a round.
But Rexy plays the time properly, and it's a 9-3 half going into the side swap.
Switching sides.
What a round. What a final round.
What a good round.
That is exactly what Lake needed going into the second half. Get around, get some confidence, get some momentum going into this pistol here, and now you're on defense. And I wouldn't say that I don't know how sided this map is, but I definitely think defense allows you control the pace a little bit.
It's I think in recent years it's swapped back to being a little bit more defensive sided. I think there was a little bit of time where it was very attack heavy, and a lot of teams would play comps that were more centered around that defense. But I feel like with a lot of the adaptations that have been brought in, there is a lot of defense sided. But I was going to say, as we look over to the side of Avon, being on their attack, we are going to be seeing what is set to be a very aggressive round start here. 5 stacked over on A. This is a pistol round barrel just written all over it. Early tree pressure here from Habibi, able to clear out that KJ utility and looking towards just exploding onto this site, which is exactly what's going to be happening. Derpy Blobfish able to find one from the back, but picks are coming in, and it is going to be a 2v4 here for the side of Avon Lake. Fudgecake's able to find one here, now looking towards potentially finding more, but the wrap from I Miss Her will be caught out by Fudgecakes. A 1v2 in this pistol round, exactly the same type of situation that we saw Avon in last round. So now it's going to be interesting to see how the side of Avon Lake is able to play. And a little bit of misaim there is going to cost them the round. A 10-3 lead for Avon as they go into their bye on their attack half.
Yeah, you talk about how aggressive they were on that first round. The aggression won on that round for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I do want to say, though, Lake has had a rough go at it this map for sure. If there has been a shining spot, Fudgecake has made it some excellent plays. And you look at it there, getting 2 massive kills to even give themselves a chance to win that round. Absolutely critical in that scenario for Fudgecake to get those kills if they want to have any sort of chance.
Absolutely. We've been seeing the pop-offs from Fudgecakes and its Rexy, the two players who have probably had some of the most impact out of all of their players here. And now it's Avon. They're just going to be running the same strategy back. So this is something where if we had more time in the attacking half, maybe something that Lake will be able to find with these coming rounds, it's something where I would look towards if this is just their only game plan, if this will be exactly what they go for every time. Habibi able to find one off the nade and finds a second with the Bulldog. Rexy able to get the trade onto Straw in the backline. It's a 3v4 for the side of Avon Lake, now brought down to a 2v4. And what was looking like it could have been a 1v4 will now be a 1v3. And KJ on AHS, for Avon Lake, just getting caught out here. It's 11-3 lead for the side of Avon.
11-3. 2 more rounds, or well, 1 more round really to give up. 2 more rounds maybe if Avon just goes for this one. Lake gotta figure out something here, gotta change something. Maybe just give him a sucker punch here, somewhere around those lines, something along those lines. But something has to be figured out. If not this round, next round, or else it is going to be a one map lead in favor of Avon. To be fair, Avon was the 2 seed going into this. Lake was the 7 seed, I believe.
17 in the region, yes.
Yeah, so either way, this was not like the biggest surprise. This is what was kind of predicted by seeding, although a upset is always welcome here at
It's always
Ballers.
welcome, and it's always a fun one to watch, especially within this region. Play-ins for this region included 3 upsets, and the only one that wasn't was the 8 seed over the 9 seed. Something that realistically, like, could have gone either way. Because of how tight those two were as far as their overall seeding went. So, as we look towards this retake here for the side of Avon Lake, it's going to be a man-up situation, and this is going to be an even more man-up situation here. Now a 4v2. With this plan in the back pocket, though, this is something where the Viper, especially being the last one alive, could have found a lot of value, but playing on the site, they're just unable to find it. Gets crunched out by the likes of Fudge Cakes and Blobfish, able to get another round for the side of Lake. And this is something where, in that post, especially where the plant was, I would have liked to see Avon play a little bit more off-site. I would have liked to see them play that post plant, because you have that pocket that is the C site now, that corner where the bomb can get planted, which it was, that you can just lob post-plant utility in, whether it's the Raze nade, or the KJ mollies, or the Viper mollies, or even the Gecko molly at this point. You have 4 characters with mollies, and you're playing... You have a lot of possibility for post, so you should be playing that. And, yeah.
Going into this, going into last round, I mean, you talk about how much Avon was playing a very retake-heavy style, and we see Lake go in the last round and retake site, and it was a page taken out. Honestly, it looks like they're going to do it once more, as Avon will get a free plant here onto the C side.
Very unfortunate here for Lake, reading what could have been a swap back after that round failure from the last, with Avon losing out on this site. They expected them to return back to their dominant A hit, which in all honesty was not a bad call to make. That is something where I would have looked towards it if I was going to be calling for this team. If your team like lost that first round on a site the first time you go to it, I would have looked towards something like a swap up. But they decide to go back onto the C site, and they find it completely free, which has led to the dominance within this round. They're able to get that plant completely uncontested and just stretch their legs, kind of spread out on the site, which you can see through a lot of the kills on the side of Avon Lake in that last round. They were a lot in Waterfall and CT, not even inside the site, extremities, things that you would want to keep control of when you were going for a retake.
One more round here for Avon going into this first map, and then it will be a one map lead for Avon. Lake, I mean, not out of it. Not out of it until the fat lady sings, as they say. Or until the bell tolls, whatever you prefer. But going into this final round, we will see a Lake hit, or an Avon hit, I believe, onto the C site. We do have some resistance this time as we push in. There are 2 on site, 1 on the back. The ult from Habibi will be able to get 1, and pushing in, they do have it smoked out, and it will be a free plant as Avon pushes into the back of site. Waiting here. Habibi pushing through with I Miss Her. I Miss Her gets 1 on the Jelly Blobfish. On the Derpy Blobfish, I apologize. It is going to be an attempted retake here from Fudge Cake. There are 3 here on this spawn. There will be a double trade out, and it will be now a 1v3. Rexy getting 1 going into this. A 1v2 coming in from spawn. Avon playing back, waiting, playing how you wanted them to play from the back. Just waiting for the spawn here, and the first Molly's going to go out from the KJ here, and it will be a final kill from Avon. Straw getting the final kill. 13-4 will be the end of our first map. Avon up 1-0 in the series, and we have one more map, at least one more map, possibly 2 going into Icebox with Lake on defense.
Yep, and that map was showing exactly why Avon is here as the 2 seed. They showed not only great performance from everyone in the server from their side, but we also saw a lot of dominance from their players in their like play style. We saw a lot of the things that we talked about were just the pace that they were able to bring, not only on their offense but on their defensive sides. Just relentless, full pedal to the metal. And we saw a lot of sparks of potentially genius from the side of like things that could, as the series go on, potentially get them activated and potentially make this a full three mapper and more competitive. The likes of Fudge Cake and Rexy were getting important kills, and that combo there actually was playing incredibly well. On that last round, we saw Fudge Cakes play a little bit ahead of the Skyblind. The Skyblind got thrown around the angle, and Fudge Cakes peeked out ahead of it before it had even popped, going for kind of a little bit more of a gambly play. What could have been. Um, on that side, instead of playing the standard, waiting for the flash to pop and then going with it, he went right before there could be any real response. So a lot of that combo there was getting a lot of picks, and there were some important kills from the side of Derpy Blobfish, especially, but underperformances from the side of Cyro and Pezzo Light. Things that we need to see, especially if Cyro is going to be staying on that main duelist role, we need to be seeing a little bit more impact being found, going 7 and 16, not getting a lot of first bloods, and just a lot of the time not even really being the first one to die, just sort of going in and being unable to find a ton of value. We need to see those likes be able to pick up the pace. And the reason that we aren't saying that for the likes of the lower sides of Avon is because they have the performance of Habibi going 28 and 11, going over double, over a 2.0 KD, which is a massive level of performance that you love to see out of your main duelist, having 100 ACS over the next person, almost 170 to be fair. And if you look at that timeline, if you're looking at the scoreboard, it was Avon all day. There were a few rounds here that Lake were able to find, but they were never able to string them together, and it was just the dominance in string that was being found from the side of Avon that was truly showing like
Mhm.
just the performance.
Yeah,
And,
most definitely.
yeah. And as we move over to the side of Icebox, this is one where you might see the game plan from Avon shift up a little bit, especially from the flank reliance. Flanks
Mhm.
on Icebox are incredibly easy to read because they're very one-dimensional. There isn't a ton of alternate routing that you can go through, especially when you're looking towards the A side. It's really just you can go from behind, going from attacker spawn, or you can only really come through mid, which isn't even a flank at that point. It's just an alternate through main. So with that flanking style being reduced, a lot more of this face checking style that we saw on the rounds where Avon actually lost is going to be more prevalent. A lot of that, everybody just sort of meeting head on with no real
Mhm.
stopping them. So this is something where I could see potentially just the raw aimers of Avon Lake able to come out and improve a little bit more, perform a little bit more because they're just being given those gunfights right in front of them.
Yeah. Moving into Icebox, I'm excited for the more direct approach, not having three sites, having two sites instead. A little bit more of a, as you said, punch each other in the face style.
Hmm.
Who doesn't love a good knockout from Mike Tyson or somebody
Exactly.
along those lines? Moving into this next game, Avon, I think the aimers of Avon will probably lead to a lot of very quick rounds going into this next game.
Yeah.
Like just a lot of insta fights, seeing what happens, and then probably either saves or failed retakes from the opposing sides.
Yep.
Um, I would say that if we are going to talk about a sidedness from a map, I think that Icebox probably leans a little bit more towards the attacker side sometimes.
It depends on how you play it.
Hmm.
Icebox is a map that has comps that can be very attacker sided and very defensive sided. It all really depends on exactly how you go about
Hmm.
playing that. Um,
Yeah, most definitely. Um, Going into this ice box, we have seen Lotus. We've seen how these teams play. We saw Avon play a very very fluid defensive side. We will see Lake on the defense to start this one out.
mhm.
What do you want to see out of Lake's defense to give them the edge in this game?
I feel like it's a little bit of you need to not play rattled, which is kind of hard to do after a 13-4 loss like
Hmm.
that, especially if this is your first time on land, your first time going out of your comfort zone and actually like being in an arena where the people that you're playing against are, in this case, right next to each other. We have our front two teams that are playing right next to each other. I'm waiting. So being like we need to see them not play rattled, which I think is going to come from playing a little bit more aggressive and playing a little bit more like for the first contact on your defensive side. You don't want to just be giving Avon free duels. You don't want to be giving them just instant pressure and instant just value. You want to be giving them, you want to make them work for those round ones, those first bloods. You want to make them have to put a lot of pressure on you for them to find everything that they want, which is going to mostly come from aggression on those defensive sides, mainly in the playgrounds of A and C main, or A and B main. What I would like to see from the side of Lake is, for starters, if they have a character that can play the AWP, I want to see them getting that out fast. It's an incredibly good lockdown tool. And Avon didn't even really have an AWPing character last map, but they still brought it out about halfway through because of just the dominance that it brings. It's an incredibly good tool for locking down long sight angles, and Icebox being a map that is just made of long sight angles. It's incredibly easy for them to just find fast value and find a lot of that pressure that we're going to see. Another thing that I'd like to see from Avon Lake, something that they were doing a little bit that last defensive half, obviously was a little hard to do because of the constriction that Avon was giving, but it's playing your defenses potentially a little bit less ratty, playing more for the retake. They were playing a lot on site, especially on those sides that were getting collapsed. When you look at the sides of A and C when they actually played on them, and Avon was just dogpiling them. They were able to get a ton of that pressure, and it's something where like we would look towards that and see if they can play potentially a little bit further back and let the collapse happen, and then kind of put them in a box.
Yeah. So you telling us a lot here, a lot of information.
Yeah.
You've given us a ton of information, just endless information, this vault of knowledge we've got right here.
This goober.
This goober. Give us some information like outside of Valorant. What do you think about Bald Wallace? What are we thinking? Actually, forget everything I just said. We're going into Agent Select, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
We don't care that much about you.
Good.
I'm sorry, sir.
Good.
As we will get into Agent Select here on Icebox, we will have Lake on the defense to start out, Avon attacking. What are you seeing here from this Agent Select?
Well, for starters, I'm seeing a massive amount of swap up from both sides. We're seeing for the side of Avon, Pookie Bear, the secondary smokes on that Lotus map will now be swapping over to the Sage, something that will maybe help the attack side play a little bit better. Sage being a character that has kind of remained in meta for Icebox for a very, very long time. We're also seeing a lot more standard play with the Sova on I Miss Her, Rabbit playing on that Viper again, a map where Viper is very good, Straw on that KJ, and Habibi swapping over to the Jet here. When we look over to the side of Lake, we've got a lot of swap ups here. Spyro, who was playing that Raze, is now going to be playing the Viper, an incredibly massive shift in pace. Rexy is going to be swapping over to the Chamber here instead of the Sky. We got Pazzo Light, the KJ, now being on the KO. We got Fudge Cakes, who was our Omen, playing that Sage, and we've got Derpy Blobfish, the Gecko player, now playing on that Neon. It's almost a complete swap up in the pacing that we're seeing, and I could wonder if that was a pre-planned. I have to imagine that it's pre-planned with swaps as big as this, or if it's something where they had multiple kind of agents that they were going to pick from, and they felt that they were going to play a little bit more into comfort. Yeah. Spyro potentially not feeling as good on the dive, whereas Derpy maybe feeling a little bit better, so going for the swap there, and putting Rexy onto an agent where he can just full aim out is something that isn't super surprising, seeing his performances from last half. Seeing the pressure that he was able to put up is very good.
Yeah, I have two thoughts on this. First off, I mean, you talk about the Sage and how Sage has always been a meta, especially on the attacking side. On this piece or on this A side, like if you get Sage on site, get a wall down, and then you get a free plant pretty much, and like maybe like 10-20 seconds off of it, it can be a round winner if need be. And then also, I have a question like to somebody who knows the meta. Is KO meta on Icebox?
KO sits in a weird place, kind of with a lot of maps as we are going into the fight. Spyro getting 3. I'll talk about that in a second. Getting a massive amount of impact, but Habibi here sitting on the site. That was an incredibly good round from Lake. One of the things that I talked about, them not playing like they're phased, they didn't. They walked through that Viper orb that was sitting in maze up in the top left. I believe we're seeing Zero walk right by it. and then they just walked out through there, walked past 410, and completely wrapped the side of Avon. Going back to that KO question, KO sits in a weird spot where he's kind of good on every map, but he doesn't really have a defined spot. And the reason why something like Ascent features KO so often is because of the way that Ascent is played. It's very common to see characters like KJ and characters like Sova playing dug in on sites, and KO is good when you have characters that are going to be playing dug in on sites, because when his knife tags you, you lose the ability to use any of your utility, but also if you have any placed utility, stuff like KJ utility, Cypher utility, Viper stuff, that is all unactionable. So there's a lot of pressure that KO can make.
Big kill.
Yeah, massive kill for the side of Avon, finding this space, especially finding Kitchen so early, something that's massive to find. Derby Blobfish finding one, Habibi able to get the trade. It's not going to be an even 3v3 with a retake having to come from the side of Lake, and what could be a kill from Pookie Bear as he waits his time, as he plays and is able to find one. Rexy able to find a fast response. Now, going into the 1v2, going into the 1v1, it's going to be down on Distraught, and this bomb is not planted for him. It is very much not. And Rexy's going to be watching the walkout. Avon Lake stringing together their first 2 rounds of this entire series, and
I'm liking it.
A very hot start coming out here.
I like the
side of Lake.
Spyro.
Yeah,
coming on the Viper, not like a dually character, but coming out and swinging, putting some knuckles to some teeth these first 2 rounds. Loving it. I mean, Viper has been a staple of Icebox ever since Icebox came out.
Pretty much.
And just the ability to use Viper in the way that's needed, but also use it as a duelist on retakes. Like we've seen, both of these retakes were Spyro and Friends, pretty much.
Yeah.
And as we go into this 3rd round, if Avon Lake is going to continue to succeed, I think we probably need to see a lot more out of this Spyro retake on Viper.
Yeah, and I think it's something where he is going to be somewhat set up for it. It's a question of kind of how that all gets played, with Avon now grouping outside, waiting for that Viper wall to go down before they pop their own and decide to go in. Fudgecakes, though, getting an early pick. Habibi able to get that trade, and Pookie Bear bringing them back up in numbers. Derpy is going to be able to find the response here, and now looking for more, playing on that site, playing silent, looking for a pick, not going to be able to deny plants, but is able to find one onto Habibi, but the lower performing players from Lotus able to step up for Avon on this round. Rabbit and Straw getting 2, bringing Avon their first round on the attack.
I'm really liking this Icebox. I'm liking the way these teams are playing. It's going to be a dogfight throughout. This first round going in favor of Avon, being able to set up the economy and kind of breaking it up a little bit for Lake here. And it will be another A hit out of Avon in this round, and I'm really excited to see the different ways, because A is one of those, or A site on Icebox is one of those sites where you kind of hit it the same way every single time, it seems like, and with very little fluctuation. I want to see if Avon is able to find that fluctuation and find different ways to hit the site to be able to surprise Lake.
And what could have been a very cool early setup for the side of Rexy is now going to be given. But Zero playing this ratty angle, able to find one, but just angle in selection is going to get the best of him, as Avon is able to fight back, find 2, and get that bomb down from the Sova, the side of iMisser, and able to find an important number 2 on this side. It's not going to be a 2v4 for the side of Lake, and with their money in not necessarily the worst position, but in definitely a breakable spot, this is something where I would look towards and see exactly what you can do, especially now Derby Blobfish. Yeah, with only 1,000 in the back pocket, you're going to want to be seeing something like a save or something like exit plays here, which it appears that he's going to be going for, and he's able to find one onto Habibi. A very nice shutdown for the Jet on the side of Avon. But the brawl back from iMisser. First 3 of the game, and an important 3 at that.
I do like the exit frag, but I think that the play there is take your one, get out.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, take your one. You get rid of a gun. You break up the economy a little bit more. You keep a gun, and then you go into this next round. Can we look at economy real quick in this one? Yeah, now
it's gonna be a weird buy coming out from the side of Lake.
Yeah, going into this next game, we will have Cyro on the op. Probably not, but
Go,
it was a funny look for a
Going back
second.
to the Guardian, I liked the what it would have meant for the round. Cyro just trying to play into that individual form, where it's just like if your player is having a game, just play into that. But we're also seeing Derpy Blobfish, who was kind of having a game, now going for this aggression on the Neon ult, able to find a lot of damage onto the Viper and potentially going hunting. Zero actually able to find one, and Derpy Blobfish finds another on that flank, able to get a lot of value. But Avon on that attack is just able to clean house, clean site, and will now move into the post plant. Although Derpy Blobfish and Fudge Cakes playing very aggressive here and actually denying the bomb plant here for Avon. It's going to be a pure 2v2 with the bomb down and the Neon ult able to find one, but not able to find another.
Man.
Fudge Cakes not able to get the cross. It's going to be a 3-2
That's a really good
lead.
Sova dart there. Get the information out. Know where Fudge is at. And I really liked that push. I feel like it was a little bit of a mistake on the Avon side, not getting the plant down as quick as they could have.
Yeah.
And giving Lake a chance to get claw back into the round there by delaying the plant, and then Derpy getting a kill there. Derpy pushing in does do solid damage, just unfortunately Fudge Cake will be spotted out, and it will be a third round in favor of Avon. 3 straight for Avon. Going into this next round, it will be another A hit. I don't think, have we seen a B hit? Yeah, we haven't seen it. Well, actually, they went B, what, second round? And then it was a
True. Yeah. I was going to say, going back to some very old Icebox comms of just don't go B, only fight A, you know? It's a play style. It technically works. The complete value of it is something that can be put under question. But one thing that won't be put under question is the value of this Viper ult, especially in this placement, being a full cutoff of the choke. It'll be unfortunate that Cyro is taken out, and Rexy is only able to find one, getting Avon a full walk-in to the site and leaving only Fudge Cakes and Derpy on this retake. Fudge finding one, now has the res, could potentially go for it, and is going to go for it to bring this round back to a 3v2. Numbers advantage for Lake was there, but instantly taken down, and now launched into a 1v1. It is going to be I Miss Her, the Sova with the ult here. This could be massive on this post plant, and it's going to be something where we're going to need to see a massive play coming out from one of the two. Looks like Pazzo Light going to be going for the tap and is now looking to potentially bait out this Sova ult. And there's time. Oh, I don't think he has it. I think it's so incredibly close.
He's going to miss it by like a split second.
Yeah, barely no time.
Oh, man. 0.3 second. Oh, man. So close yet so far.
Yeah.
Incredibly unfortunate, but that was just an extremely smart play by the Sova there. You've got the ult, you might as well just play for the diffuse, just wait for the sound cue, then teammates ping it, you ult it 3 times, and you got a free round. You get not a free round, it costs you an ult, but it's pretty much didn't have to work that hard for it.
A good confirm. I will say from the side of Pazzo Light and Avon Lake, a little bit of a misstep there, as I believe Pazzo had full health and could have tanked one of those Sova blasts. So after those 2 are sent, the stick on the bomb could have been something that we had seen. I think something that could have happened and potentially confirmed them the round because of how tight that timing was.
Can you survive, like, if you get head-on blasted one time, can you survive that from Sova?
The blast only does 80. You have 150.
Only does 80. Wow, okay.
So it's something where when you look towards the triple blast, once you've baited out 2, you can just start sticking through that. It's a little bit of a weird timing to get, especially when you're in that 1v5 or you're in that 1v1 situation where you're going to be looking towards heavy pressure just face towards you, as that cleanup from Avon just sort of steamrolled them. Wasn't much else to say there. They were able to get onto site incredibly early, and they were able to just sort of mop up the kills as they needed. But yeah, it is something where
pretty business as usual. Right?
Yeah. Well, also some things that you were talking about with the pace plays coming out from the side of Avon, that is exactly the things that we were talking about, them being able to just kind of flex their raw aim and just sort of go for the full run over type plays. And now we're going to be seeing Avon early grouping with a full buy here. They're going to be going for this B take, something that we haven't seen all game with these full rifles, something where the side of Pazzo Light is going to end up being tested, something that we could look towards and potentially see how he will respond to this type of pressure. With the KJ ult also getting popped, this puts Lake in a very weird situation where they're forced to give and have to let Avon get that pick down. Habibi able to find one, but Derpy able to get the response. It's now a 4-4, and Avon has lost one of their biggest pieces that actually they didn't utilize as much as I was expecting. The wall from the side of the Viper on Avon not being put down in the early round, unable to be used into this later. Rexy able to find one, but I miss her getting an incredibly fast response, and Habibi just playing in that pocket. It's now going to be up to Rexy and Fudge Cakes, who both peak and both go down. A 6th round for Avon here, as they continue just their streak of dominance here on Icebox, going back to very similar scenes that we were seeing on Lotus.
Yeah, just incredible. Just the aim out of Avon is just taking full advantage. Taking full advantage of the aim. Oh my gosh, words are hard, man.
Taking full advantage of the aim that's on
the Avon
roster.
side.
Yes.
They will be switching back to the A hit. I do like the B change up though. You keep hitting them with right, go left, give them a little bit.
Scanning ahead.
We'll have a 9th round in order here, and it will be. It looks like another pretty standard hit out of Avon for this round.
I will say one of the things that I can say about Avon, a lot of these rounds have shown something that's a little symptomatic of teams like this when you're given regions where you can go for a lot of the same things, a lot of back and forth from the side of Derpyfish and Cyro, able to get it down to a 2v3, something I'll talk about in a second. It's brought down to the 2v2. It's not going to come down to the side of Pazzo and Rexy. No find of that knife is going to allow the Viper ult to come out and potentially the res invested from Avon, although I believe in this 2v2 they're going to rely more on the laurels of their individual players that are playing right now. A little bit of spam onto Pazzo is going to make things a little bit sticky. Now left onto the side of Rabbit, getting it down to a 1v1, but Pazzo playing ahead of the timing and is able to find a 3rd from Lake. A necessary break if they look to continue in this series.
Not to take away from Lake here, but that was a misplay from Avon a little bit.
Maybe a little. Yeah. I think the alt invest was a little bit risky.
I like the alt, but I think
the Viper alt wasn't the problem.
Yeah, I meant the pull out on the Viper Molly, which is really good in the alt because everybody's brought down to 1 health, so that's an instant kill pretty much if it hits. But I felt like it was a little early. There wasn't really like a cue to do it. You could have waited a second, wait for a little bit of information confirmed that they're still on the bomb, and then use it. And it will be a 3rd round in favor of this Avon Lake side, and it will be a chance to get back into this series.
Yep. I think a little bit of pressure coming out there, not necessarily knowing where the KO was and not knowing exactly how low he was, where something like the, not even necessarily the Molly, but something like the pistol could have been used, and getting dinged down incredibly hard and still being low. The res coming out from Avon here will be getting them some value, but it is a massive battle back. And now back to the same 2 of last round, Pazzo Light and Rexy, but now just down to Rexy and just down to no
These
one.
rounds are so fast.
Yep.
Like I feel like at this point in the last map, we'd be like 6 rounds in. And we are talking about halftime almost already as we go into our 11th round here. And can we see, let's look at that econ. It will be a save coming out from Lake in this round, so most likely a round towards Avon here. And it will be an 8-3 going into the final round. And then a bye to hopefully see a round come out from Avon Lake. But with the switch up here, I do like it, seeing as they are kind of leaning towards A. I mean, they've been hitting A a lot. The switch up is good. I like it.
Yeah. I was going to say, with the pace coming out from Avon, it's just something that they're, again, just fully utilizing that aim. Their players are feeling it right now, and they're just going to play into that. They're going to play to overwhelm. They're going to play to just be better than the side of Lake, which is something that we're seeing. A massively important trade coming out from the side of the BB, and an incredibly good one to find. Finding 2 here now. putting the retake pressure onto the side of Lake. I miss her finding another one, leaving Rexy in the site, essentially alone with Derpy Blobfish on that flank. He's going to be able to find one. With the Stinger and the Sheriff, this is going to be an incredibly hard round to find. The angle break, almost finding one, but unable to find it. And with that dart, it's going to be a triple swing and an 8th round for Avon. So potentially looking at a very similar scoreline coming into this last, but also Lake could be finding another round here with that full buy, going up to 4-8, and then looking towards that last round.
Yeah, in this next round, I mean, last round of the half, we got to figure out something here, and it will be an important round. I mean, you talk about momentum, and we talk about how momentum and econ go hand in hand. With this round, not obviously the econ resets, but momentum still carries over. Momentum's a thing throughout all things, especially Valorant. And the aimers on the Avon side would like to take a final round and put the momentum fully in the driver's seat of Avon.
With the all pop here from the side of Pazzo Light, it's something that is going to provide a lot more pressure. But as soon as that wall drops, it's just a shooting range for the side of Avon. Zero able to find one on the site. Derpy Blobfish getting the bob drop. Zero unable to find another, and is now going to be down to Derpy Blobfish and Rexy, two of the players who have been the biggest swing players of the day, leaving it down to a 1v3 required from Rexy if he wants a 4th round for the side of Avon Lake. The knives coming back out for Habibi, and it's going to be the same stat line as last game, a 9-3 lead for Avon as they go into their defensive half.
Yeah, 9-3 in favor of Avon, another dominant half. Going into this second half here of possibly the last map of the series if Lake cannot figure something out, although side changes do change things a little bit. We talk about momentum, it still stays with Avon here, but side change does change things up. Got it, makes you play a little different. I mean, I feel like sometimes when I play Valorant, I can have a crazy half in the first half, and then second half comes, and I get like 2 kills the entire half. So this half change could be massive for this Lake side. And I do want to talk about Habibi. If you look on the scoreboard here, Habibi 18-7, over a 2.0 KD at this point. And you played with Habibi, right? Habibi is the one carryover.
Yes.
What can you speak about Habibi? Has he always been this aimer?
Well, Habibi is like a crazy player. He's easily one of the highest ranked players on the team, as we can see from this 2 Sheriff, and I'm going to start following him now because he's popping off. He was one of our players who went toe-to-toe with one of the players from the Avon team who's now playing for the side of Akron. If you're able to watch one of their games, their main Omen player, Vorses, he is one of the players who just went toe-for-toe with Habibi. But Habibi is like has always been a player who's been in that upper tier of Immortal, pumping into Radiant semi-frequently. So he's always just been an incredibly good raw aimer. But the other important thing about Habibi is not only the leadership, but the flexibility that he brings. He's being put onto these raw duelist roles, but during my time with the team, we had him playing everything under the sun. There were maps where he was playing Chamber in Prime Chamber meta, but then recently he was playing more like Flash Initiators because I was picking up the Info Initiator, and then for a while we tried to flip where he was going to play the Info and I was going to play the Flash. So he's played just about everything under the sun. And he's shown the exact same level of dominance, not just with his aim, but also with his util pressure on pretty much any role that he's been put on.
As we move into this 14th round here, Habibi will be able to get one out. On the Outlaw, Outlaw new gun into this game, Straw getting a second one on the Avon side. I've actually had a chance to get my hands on the Outlaw, play a little bit with it, and I thoroughly enjoy it as a person who enjoys playing with the Marshal a lot, as Rexy will get beat out onto that kill by Straw. Yeah. And it does look like it is going to be an attempt at a rotate from this Avon Lake side. But as I said about the Outlaws, we're going to see a Straw push out, and it will be a 11th round in favor of Avon here. But I want to speak about this Outlaw real quick. Over under, you get 2 shots. It is a sniper. You have expressed dislike of the Outlaw in the past.
Yeah.
I disagree with you. I played with the Outlaw. I thoroughly enjoy it. As I said, I played a lot of Marshall. I enjoy how the Marshall mechanics works, and I feel like it's just Marshall with an extra shot. Although it is a little bit more expensive and I believe a little bit more powerful than the Marshall.
It's more powerful and more expensive. It does 140 to the body, essentially being in addition to get rid of the light shield meta that was going on, especially um, recently. It was something that was seen a lot, not only in pro play, but also in ranked a lot. We would see people just buying light shield rifle, maintaining an incredibly high economic status. We're going to be seeing Avon getting a lot more picks here on their defensive side on this A take, leaving just Derpy Blobfish and Zero. Two of the best performers here. Derpy Blobfish able to find one and Zero finding another. A little bit tricky. It's going to be down to the 2v2, but the flank here.
They're both one shot.
Yep. The flank here also could be incredibly important as we see Habibi clean up one and the second, giving us a 12-3 round lead for the side of Avon. What could be the final round of our opening series, giving Avon a dominant 2-0 and potentially setting the pace for the rest of this tournament.
Yeah, most definitely. Avon, they're the 2 seed coming into this. I can't remember who the 1 seed is.
The 1 seed would be on the other side of the bracket. I believe it would be somebody like NDCL or I forget exactly what it was.
Either way, though, this Avon team is going to be a contender, even though they are the 2 seed. Going to be a contender no matter what.
Yep.
SABB will be taken out early on in this round by Derpy Blobfish, as Avon Lake trying to extend this game out as much as possible, hoping for a comeback if they can. And it will be an early rotate out of this Avon Lake side. Derpy Blobfish trying to lead it with the speed coming out from Neon.
Take this.
A lot of pressure, a lot of pace being brought into this round from the Avon Lake side. A lot of great things that you like to see, especially from a defensive side that has just been getting beat up. They're not having, or an offensive side just getting beat up. Them not having the fear of having to play slow, not wanting to play into that aggression. They do want to play into that aggression. Straw able to find one, equalizing the numbers out to a 4v4 here on this retake. And with no real ult advantage coming out for one side or the other, this retake is going to be incredibly difficult to find one team getting really any sort of pressure here. The peek out from Pazolite is going to go 1-for-1. Rexy able to get the trade, and now we're going to be looking. We're going to be seeing the flank from woulkd able to find one as Straw cleans up the last. It's going to be another. It's going to be a 13-3 here on Icebox, an even more dominant scoreline than the likes of Lotus, and that is going to be our first series closed out. A dominant performance from Avon, to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
A 13-3 and a 13-4, if I remember correctly. Two just back-to-back incredibly just performance games. And the biggest takeaway from both is just that Habibi is not a slouch. He is here and will continue to perform if he is given the light of day. 25-8 on that series, and in the last one, he went 28-11, just kind of stretching his legs, being given the space and the time to really play out. So he was just allowed to, and he went for it. Something that I would expect to see continue through, as he is kind of that spear tip for this Avon team. I will say, looking towards the rest of the team as we look towards these two maps, what I like to see is I like to see a little bit of a shakeup in terms of the supporting staff. I miss her still being the 2 to that 1-2 punch on the side of Avon in both games, but seeing the likes of Straw, Rabbit, and Pookie Bear kind of just getting shifted around as far as where everybody sits in terms of those next 3 is very good to see. And one of the other things that we saw a lot of, especially on that defense, was that no one was really scared to play the way that they wanted to. Everybody kind of played with the pressure that they needed and with the power that they wanted to show. It's incredibly good to see, and it's incredibly, what do you call it? Words. It's incredibly welcome to see from this team. It's good foreshadowing for potentially the next. Them not necessarily being scared to play against these teams, and as they go up into those higher ones, not necessarily showing that fear in the face of adversity.
Yeah. That being said, I do want to say that Avon Lake, unfortunately, will be exiting the tournament at this point, but that's all for naught. It's not all for naught, is what I'm trying to say. It was a good season. You made playoffs. You went to land. Went to something that not a lot of people could say.
Exactly.
And it's something to be proud of. Avon Lake, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming out. It's been
Yeah.
a pleasure. Congrats on Avon for moving on.
Hmm.
I will not be returning on Valorant. I'll be casting some of the games later on for Rocket League, but you'll be on Valorant off and on all day.
Yep. I'll be back here with this next set. Our next set up on the docket is going to be a clash between NDCL and Louisville, which is going to be a matchup between that the number 1 and the number 8 seeds. So potentially another blowout here as we're looking at a team that was seeded higher than Avon against a team that was seeded pretty similarly to Avon Lake, slightly lower even. So another match, another potential for things going on as we look towards other sides of the bracket. Match happening at the same time as that one. Lorraine High School going up against Akron STEM. Had Lorraine, the expected one, winning out 2-0. I don't have exact scores for that one, but I can imagine it's a 3 seed against 11 seed. Similar scenes going on here.
Mhm.
So a lot of great games going on, and looks like a lot of big name clashes as we look towards not only the rest of the quarters, but the semis and even into the grand finals. So thank you all for tuning in so far. We will be back eventually with more Valorant. So stay tuned.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Esports Ohio. We've got our second set of matches here in the northeastern quadrant of the state. We are going to have Notre Dame Cathedral versus Louisville in the match that we are streaming. We also have Shaker Heights versus Mayfield going on at the same time. Winner of this will play the winner of them. And moving into this game, I'm Lockwell Anders Wilson. I'm here with,
I'm still Jeremy Planasek, error.
and
And
we are excited for this game. Hopefully, we get something a little closer than we had last game. We had a very one-sided affair right before this. Avon taking down Avon Lake to move on. But I'm very excited to get this next match going as we are going to get right into Agent Select. Jeremy, tell me what you're thinking.
well, we're running back on Icebox, and if you were watching the stream from earlier, you're going to be seeing what I would expect is I was about to say a lot of similar comps, and I don't know how silly Louisville is getting, but we could be seeing some interesting stuff. I mean, we obviously saw the neon coming out from Avon Lake there, and it was actually getting them some good value. It was allowing them to play a little bit with more pace, some things that we were kind of wishing from them coming out from their set beforehand. Um, I was gonna say I think Louisville is trolling right now, but what I can say is if they are going to genuinely go for a Yoru pick, this is a map where I think it could work. Like unironically, it's one of those picks that's kind of weird. We've been seeing a little bit more Yoru moved into the meta as far as the like pro scene goes. We've especially been seeing it a lot in our what do you call it? A lot in Breeze games. It's just been something that has been popping up more and more as time has gone on. Um, so it's something where I would not be opposed to seeing a Yoru pick here, although it looks like that will not be picked. It looks like we're going to be getting some pretty bog standard stuff. I do like the double duelists that are currently being hovered and for the side of NDCL being locked here with both that Reyna and that Neon kind of playing into that Reyna just playing off the raw aim, Neon playing a little bit faster. We see the solo Viper coming out for both, something I'm a little bit disappointed that teams here haven't been experimenting with more of the double controller type stuff. Seeing that at the higher level, especially some stuff like Viper Harbor has been very interesting from the likes of, I believe Loud's been playing it a lot, and it's been cool to see that. So a little disappointed that they aren't going for something more like that. But beyond that, we see a lot of pretty bog standard play. The mirror KJ pick is to be expected, and for solo initiators, we don't have bad choices on either side, the solo KO and the solo Sky. The one thing that I will look towards for the side of Louisville is less on their attack and more on their defense. We'll be seeing the repercussions of it with the solo Sky, as the info that they're able to gather is pretty lacking since both the dog and the two flashes do not recharge. So you'll only have really 3 bouts of info that you can get.
That is a newer thing, the flash
Pretty
not
recently,
recharging.
pretty recently.
Yeah. Um, I played a lot of Initiator in my time with Valorant. I like playing Sky on this map, but I have not played Sky since the switch, or the nerf, you could say, of the flash recharge. But going into this next game, we will see both sides. So it could be a little preview of which side could be better for this.
And the first map is going to be very important to set the tone of this series. Something that I was gonna like something that's interesting to look at this map to kind of contrast with the side of Avon and the sides that we saw in earlier series is the lack of a Viper wall early and the silent approach that we're seeing from both these sides. Other than that Skyflash being burned there, no real noise has been made as NG from Louisville is able to take the first onto Striker. But we can see on the other side of the map the approach from the rest of Louisville moving onto that B site. Hazard able to take out Batman. Clearing up the site a lot. NG finding a little bit more, leaving YX on the site solo, and the Neon in a little bit of a rotate over situation as NG is able to find a gap on the backside, something that could potentially be a crippling blow if he's able to find 2 or even just 1. He's able to find 1, and YX is able to find 1, throwing him into the clutch, but the 1v3 will be undoable as NG finds the 4th, giving Louisville their first round.
Very dominant performance out of NG to start this one. And we talk about how, like last game, aim like aim was superior, aim was king, and going into this game, I can't imagine that it's gonna be any different. Starting out very hot for NG. I mean, momentum, another thing we talk about, paramount, something you've got to continue. And that round one momentum, the round one, the pistol, the econ, and the momentum you get from the econ that you get in round one, absolutely massive. And going into the next round, we will see a buy out of NG. He got that 4K, so he has the money to buy with some solid armor here, full armor actually.
Yep.
Trying to push in.
The one thing that I will say about this buy is I know if our coach for the BW Val team was watching this, and any one of us did that, he would have a stern talking to with us. Our coach is not a fan of this buy, and I think NG is a player where it won't show as much, but this is a very dangerous buy because as soon as you die, if you go in early and get picked, that is an instant throw over of the Vandal to the side of
Big 2K.
NDCL. Able to find two, though, there onto both duelists for the side of Notre Dame, now leaving them in a 3v5 retake, something that we'll need to see a massive overcome with Hazard and ILG able to find two more, leaving Batman in the 1v5, where he's able to get taken out. Louisville, a hot 2-0 start.
Yeah, that was they had 4 alive last round, now a flawless this round. Not flawless, but pretty close to flawless. So I mean, this is a really close. I mean, not that close to the first 2 rounds. We hope that these teams bring it closer. Going into these next few rounds, I want to see this Notre Dame squad. Notre Dame, yeah, this Notre Dame squad really just find a way to bring these maps a little closer. Maybe get an early frag onto NJ to take advantage of the aggression here, like how we see Reyna trying to peek NJ on the wires.
Yep. And I feel like that is going to be a big thing. It's stuff that we talked about from last map and or last series even, and how it's going to play into sets like this. How are the teams going to respond to pressure that's being put on? And NJ here is doing exactly what his team needs him to. He's finding a lot of important early picks, and he's taking a lot of space very fast. This is something that I like to see out of duelist players, especially ones who aren't afraid to be taking that type of space. Throwing this into the 2v4 retake with a flank on is not a great sight to see, and I think this flank will be finding one, leaving Batman in the 1v4. Vandal, certainly doable, but with time not necessarily on his side or giving him the best of opportunities, it looks like he is going to be going for exits and just potentially trying to save, but the triple face there from Louisville gives them an early 3-0 lead and a great start out of this set.
I mean, we are 3 rounds in, and you look at it, the economy is firmly in the Louisville side, and off the bat, NG has not died yet, and he has 10 kills. I mean, statistically, that's like, well, you can't divide by 0, so it's an infinite KD at the moment. But still, that's 10 kills, 0 deaths, and just absolute utter domination these first 3 rounds out of Louisville, and they will switch it up after 2 rounds going A. They will send their troops to the B side.
Yep, and this thing that we're seeing from Louisville is a thing that I like to see, especially leaving this KJ back on this sort of flank watch, something that I would have liked to see from the likes of Avon Lake a lot earlier, especially when we were going back to those last sets, looking towards maps like Lotus, where flanks are very important for your kind of sight hold and how you go about your defensive pressure. The phase out from Bacta, unfortunate that the wall was going to go down right as he was about to peek. It is now leaves NDCL in a 3v4 actually. Farnta able to get the kill in mid, potentially garnering a rifle for this retaking side. However, the attacks lockdown on that just too strong. 2 kills, 1 out of Viking, 1 out of NG, and Viking able to clean up the last. 4-0 here, a hot start and an incredibly dominant start, as we've seen near flawlesses in almost every round, if not flawlesses.
What is there, like 4 kills out of the Notre Dame squad in this game? And there's not a lot of signs of life on the Notre Dame squad.
That is
like
true.
you get 1 or 2 kills, but it's been dominant these first 4 rounds, and they've been extremely quick. I mean, we talked about in the last series how Lotus was a slow-moving map, and then Icebox was quick. This is we're
Faster.
speed running this series at the moment.
Yep, this map is definitely faster. And we're looking ahead towards this next set. NG going for that early face onto Bacta, and a lot of things that we're seeing out of this is a lot of Louisville just running the same strategies back. Something that I kind of criticized Avon for what seemed like their lack of depth, but it is a thing where I do have to recognize that they are simply just playing better and they're using the same strategy because they don't need to shake their strategy up at all. We see Xerez in this middle here on the KJ, potentially looking to thwart any sort of retake attempt. The potential getting caught out here could pose a little bit of an issue, but he's able to play inside tube. And now it's forced a retake situation out of NDCL. 5-5, able to get that first pick, which is good. And having your Neon far onto the site, but this is going to have to be a very big retake. Even though they don't have a lot of post-plant utility, they have a lot of players who are playing those dug positions. And you've got NG, who's just making this map his playground. Unable to find the spam,
Ooh, it looks like a defuse,
and it
maybe.
looks like it's going to be stuck, but the stuck will not come through. It's definitely going to be a half, but with time getting low, and it's still a 2-2, this is looking very hard to
Look at
do.
how well they're playing this.
Yep. They're playing this incredibly well. It's going to be a full everyone dies situation, but a 5-0 start for Louisville, and they can easily afford that. They can easily afford losing all their players because it puts NDCL on such a back foot.
Yeah, we talk about at the end there, like how well Louisville played that, just peeking, making sure that they couldn't get a kill, not going for the kills with the peaks, just going for the defuse deny, and that won them that round. But also something else I want to talk about was that play in the middle, in mid, where I forget who it was that was in tube. There was 3 people on top of him, and it delayed those 3 people from getting onto site and allowed Louisville to get that set up. As we will see Farna take 1 kill, Striker get 1 back, but a trade from NG, now 2, and it will be an even 3-3. Striker will get in closer. And I like the aggression here out of the Notre Dame squad, as Viking will be able to take it to a 3-2 advantage. Trade by Wix, and now it is a fight in mid. ILG goes down, or IGL takes down the opposing Viper, and this round will be a 1v2, and it is going to be a plant. Wix will take the long way around. 5 health and a Marshall, all to their name. Hopefully, may be able to find a gun, but it looks like there's a lineup set up here from the Viper of this Louisville squad, as Wix is going to push in. Can't quite find anything yet. Doesn't know where anybody's at. NG in a good spot. Not giving them any sort of information yet, though. We'll hop down. And the tap does come through. NG does get the deny, and we'll be able to get the kill. And it will be a 6th round in favor of this Louisville squad. NG once again being dominant and a force to be reckoned with in this round.
Yep, he's finding the exact space that he needs to. He's a Jet who's just being allowed to be given this space. And I think this is one of the things when you look at certain types of comps, this is something where a double duelist comp kind of lacks, and where it can be kind of hard, especially when there is, like, as we can see, a skill disparity between the 2 duelists, because it sets you up for taking a lot of aggressive fights. But the issue with it is that you lack a lot of the stall that comes from utility, and this is a thing that NG is just running through. They only have the KJ util that's able to stall, and that's almost being exclusively used on the B site. So it requires for the players from NDCL to take these aim duels and take these ones to really try to stall out a push. And with a player like NG on your side, who's just finding massive value and isn't really being hard challenged, he's just able to play on his own terms. We're going to be seeing the ult invested from Wix, something that he hopes will be respected and force the rest of the team into this mid setup that NDCL is setting for. Striker will be able to find one onto the side of the KJ and then will back out from there. But the rest of the NDCL squad, or the rest of the Louisville squad, is going to be moving over to that A bomb site. NG very far in tow. He's going to be back in spawn looking to fight any sort of flank. Hazard trying to go out, get one, unfortunately will not. And NG, IL, and Hazard will be going down, which will leave Viking left, where he will get taken down, giving NDCL their first round and a much needed injection of life into the squad.
Yeah, most definitely. And you look at this round, and not to say that it's NG and friends, but like the first time they're on site without NG, and NG's out in the middle, NG loses a 1, and then site collapses, and it's a first round in favor of Notre Dame. I don't want to say that that's like a team issue, but like maybe like just that one little bit of that separation of being a little too overconfident. You call it overheating. Uh, maybe that played a factor in that round and gave Notre Dame an injection on the life and a second chance in this series.
It's something to look towards. It's also interesting to look towards the buys coming out here with this KO opping. It's not necessarily undoable. You can definitely op on characters without a get out of jail card, but it is something where I would look towards it and kind of see how that's going to play into other maps, especially with Ascent and Breeze being in our map pool, maps that we will be going to next. Which one exactly has not been decided quite yet, but that will be decided during the little bit of the break. But it's something where those maps are incredibly op heavy and put a lot of emphasis on your op player finding value. And if your op player is going to be one of your initiators and not necessarily your main duelist, your value is going to be a little bit stagnated. Yeah. This play here from Louisville, playing with the timing perfectly, playing with the strides perfectly, shooting the gap when they needed to. Literally Batman finding one, but Hazard able to get a fast response now in this ult. And it's a 4-4, a clean retake, but it's only really a felt 3-4, now 3-3 on the site. With that ult dropping, the kill from Farna is going to be important, bringing it back to a 3-2. With both Louisville players sitting on the outside. It's now down to Xerus in a 1v2.
Man,
and the
kill
jumping
is...
shorty.
One enemy
You
remaining.
love to see it.
Thank you. Poison's off.
And Farna died post, post everyone dying.
Yeah.
Which will give Batman the defuse. Batman now has ult, which is extremely important, especially on the defending side, because you could basically just deny a site, force the other team to rotate, unless the other team decides to just say screw it, push through. But that is a second round in favor of Notre Dame here, which is something to take note of as momentum builds. Still going to be a full buy on both sides, but going into this next round, I do want to see if there is any semblance of doubt, any semblance of hesitation coming out from Louisville, as they do feel their first bit of resistance from this Notre Dame squad.
That is fair. And that is one of the things that we can talk about with this Louisville team. I know we faced them 2 years ago in a regional, back when it was held at Mount Union. And I'm unsure exactly what our stat line was, and I'm unsure how many people from that squad are still there. I just simply haven't been able to keep up with them as much as I would have liked to. But if this team is made of a lot of fresh faces to the land kind of scene, this is going to be something where that applied pressure from a team like Notre Dame is going to kind of rattle you. That early pick from NG is going to be very important. Cracks the round open, gives the bomb plant over to Louisville, and now puts NDCL into this retake situation. We're going to be seeing a flood coming out from the heavens while we have a little bit of movement on the backside. The ult from literally Batman being invested here is an incredibly good call. Farna able to pick up an early one onto the players that are left. Xerus finding one, NG going down. Xerus was trying to play onto pace. It's going to be a 2-2 left, and Striker is just going to be sticking through this.
What a defuse.
Finding that space, finding the timing, knowing that he could get it through those mollies because he wasn't being decayed, and just able to take it through. And that's going to be a timeout called from Louisville. Now this is where things get interesting. NDCL has now battled back for 3 rounds in a row, and they have been increasingly less dominant rounds, but they've still shown great promise in these rounds, something that we have been hoping to see kind of all day here from these teams. and looking towards both these sides, kind of seeing how they're able to respond to this type of pressure is going to be very important here for both sides.
Yeah, I mean, this timeout, I love this timeout call. You go up 6 rounds, you lose 3 in a row, you feel the momentum kind of move against you, kind of start fighting back, moving the other way, and you stop it. You figure out, you recontrol yourselves, recenter yourselves. You want to figure out what you want to do for the next few rounds. Um, I don't know how the statistics are in pro Valorant, but I know that statistically in pro Rocket League, which kind of, I mean, mentally it's very similar, is that I think it's 75% of games that are 75% of the games that happen after a timeout are won by the team that called the timeout. And I think that's something that is probably synonymous with a lot of esports, is that timeouts leading to victories because you have that little extra bit of time to strategize, figure out, and have that cohesion and recenter yourself. As we move into the 10th round of this first game here, we will be seeing early aggression in mid out from NG. This will be a split B push. Farna will get one. Viking going down here, and it will be a one-man advantage here for Notre Dame as we continue in this 10th round.
Instant response, though, from NG coming out of this timeout and still keeping his mechanics up high. That's one thing that you cannot question about this Louisville team, which is the can opener of NG. Just walking through mid, able to find two and looking potentially for a third on this striker.
Oh,
Although it appears that he will be able to get past clean, and that bomb plant will be forcing NDCL into a retake situation. And recently, their retakes have been very good. But a man down with NG fragging like this, especially just in this round, not just in this game, scary prospect to be staring
most
down the
definitely.
barrel of.
Yeah, I like this. I like this retake, but I also like the giving up of sight and just playing the defuse here. NG gets two with the knives, unable to get the full-on ace as Zyrus able to get the fifth. But I mean, we talked about after that timeout, we see Louisville come out and be dominant. NG especially. NG probably able to recenter himself, figure out what he wants to do in this round, and gets a 4K right off the bat.
Yep.
Exactly what we wanted to see out of Louisville after a timeout. And a now 7-3 lead as we have 2 more rounds left in this first half of game number 1 here.
It's going to be a little bit of a force buy here. So kind of going along a different mentality that we saw from the last few games. We saw a lot of second to last round low buys, kind of playing for that final round, playing for that guaranteed. But NDCL here wants to play for the 5-7. They want to play for that half. A 9-3 is going to be significantly worse, but if they're able to find this one and able to get a full buy, Louisville will definitely still have money for a rifles in that last round. But their NDCL is able to inject a little bit of confidence into themselves if they're able to find this round.
As we see, it's going to be a B hit, but the wall down, now going down. We will see still the defending wall up. Now, side's clear. Nobody's really on site. Everybody's waiting, trying to take their advantage, take their pick. As Batman will have an opportunity here. He does not know about the one that's up close, as Zyrus will be pushing in. He will get the kill, and it will be a great first pick as NJ quickly follows it up onto strikers. Farna does have an angle here, has the judge, will be able to get one here, has it going down. NG taken down by Wix. Pushing in is Louisville, now halted by Farna, though.
30 seconds left.
ILG is low, and it will be a stalled out aggression here, as it is a 3v3. Slightly lower health on the Louisville side as we go into the final 20 seconds of this round.
Something that I will say, though, looks like a little bit of panic from NDCL. That very fast rotate. They had the Neon in the back line, somebody that could have kind of overseen these fights.
Big kill.
But now with that kind of panicked rotate over, they've left a big opening here for the side of Louisville to secure this round. A round that could have looked like the force buy was going to be a good invest will now look incredibly scary as Bacta thrown into the 1v2. With that, to say, with the Viper very low, could have closed it out, but just does not, as the ping pong play from ILG and Viking will ensure that this final round will be a very interesting buy coming out from NDCL. We're not going to be getting a full buy. We're going to be getting kind of a half, little scrappier buy here, as you can see, with the numerous half armors, the not quite full rifles, SMGs coming through, shotguns, and everything.
Not to be this guy, but can we talk about how 22 kills at half is crazy?
Yeah, I mean, we can, because it is.
I mean,
Like-
nothing much else need to be said. It's just 22 kills at half crazy as we go into this final round of the half buy on the Notre Dame squad, and it is going to be a little bit of a delayed push. NG won't be able to get the first frag, and actually will be taken down by Bacta, which is a gun down, but not in a spot to be retrieved. Farna, we're going to push in with the judge, and now we'll fall back, and it will be a two-man advantage in this final round here, and it will be a stalled-out push once again. Louisville, as these rounds go on, their pushes onto this A site have been stalled out as time's gone on. Just less and less ability in these rounds. Now, let's see if I can push in. Farna up close. He is going to dog around this corner, and it could be a free kill if I can find it. And it will. Oh my gosh, actually. Wow. Farna will be able to get traded out.
Spike down A.
And left in a 1v3 for the side of Louisville. It's just going to be Viking here. Going to be able to play a little bit around. Finds the first. Now with the ult online, is going to be able to determine that there's one on flank. So it's an isolated one on site, but unable to find it. An 8-4 half coming into the side swap here. NDCL now going to be thrown onto the attack. It's going to be an interesting time to see exactly how they choose to play their offensive side.
Yeah, going in this next half, I mean, I want to see how this Notre Dame squad bounces back. They had some good rounds. They started out 0-6 and ended up winning 4 out of the last 6 rounds. So there is definitely momentum on this Notre Dame squad, although there's definitely still momentum. There's momentum both sides. It's not like we saw in the last series. It felt very one-sided throughout. Here, it feels a little bit one-sided, but there is still like a good amount of push in here for Notre Dame, especially if they continue the recent series of events they've had where they've had taken 2 rounds, lost 1, taken 2, lost 1. If they can continue that, the success is going to go their way. Although at that point, if you go 2-1 for throughout and keep doing that 3 sets of 3s, it will be a tie game going to overtime.
I mean, eventually, yes. It is one thing where I would like to see NDCL able to spark a little bit more on their rounds. Something that this start has not encouraged. They're going to need to battle back, but NG is able to find another one, and Viking gets that peek out, and it's just going to leave Bacta in this 1v5 here on the pistol round. It's certainly doable. It's one of the easiest rounds to do it on. However, the full crunch will just lead to Louisville getting that round.
I mean, the full crunch there. I mean, tried and true method, especially when you have the man advantage. Just surround them. Can't peek everywhere at the same time, and it will be a timeout out of this Notre Dame squad right after the first round of this second half. What do you think about this timeout? Is this good, this bad? Does this play into their favor?
I mean, I think it is one of those things where we could look into it and kind of ask around as to why exactly it was called. I think it is one of those timeouts that can be put into question, but I do see a big reason for it. It seemed like there was a lot of panic with that set call. It was a thing where the movements were very early and they were very like kind of rushed. It seemed like NDCL kind of struggled with exactly what they wanted to do as far as their attack side went, and it gave Louisville just kind of a just picking grounds as far as what they could have done. So I think kind of using it as a resetting tool, especially when you have had these kind of streaks of rounds, these streaks of brilliance, but unable to truly find a mojo as it comes into these rounds, using that to just kind of get your groove set of how you want to play out these attacks is good, especially in a tight game like this where every round is going to matter.
Yeah, as we move into the second round of this match, second round of the second half, I should say, will be a hit, it looks like, with a lesser buy. Only a half buy. Well, I mean, it's a bonus buy coming out from this Louisville side. Now Hazard playing up close. I am a fan of this, actually. I like this. I like the aggressive play. Does get a dink out of it. Unfortunately, will be caught out and won't be able to get out in time and it will be a trade to start out
Toxins
this
going up.
second round of the second half. Now pushing in is this Notre Dame squad. ILG is up close. We'll be able to deny the plant. One up
enemy
close.
remaining.
We'll get taken
Spike
out by
down
Zyrex. Now, Strikers takes down Viking. We'll be able to get out, but won't be able to get out fully. Almost gets a kill onto one, but being the final man alive will go down, and it is a 10th round in favor of this Louisville squad. 2 rounds away from bringing it to match point 3 from a...
Their hearts tell a different story.
Moving forward, going into these this last half here, what could be a 4-10 deficit here for NDCL, going to need to battle back and close this out here. We see them now on the full buy here against Louisville's kind of mixed buy. It's going to be something where they can definitely stretch their legs and put a little bit of pressure onto Louisville, and it needs to start now. They need to be able to shut down what could be aggression. And that early shot from Striker taking out NG is going to be an incredibly important shot to find, and an incredibly important kill to find as we look towards the tone of the rest of this series. Farna going aggressive, getting traded out by Bacta as he was taken down on that aggression. And now we move into the 3v4 post for Louisville, looking for that retake. On lower guns, this is going to be incredibly difficult to do. However, they will be able to find some sort of value if they are to start slow. Bacta able to find out ILG early and
pushing into this Vikings, trying to take this back. They do have the plant down. It is a 2v3.
Vikings able to find one. But with that time so low, Louisville is just looking to cause as much damage as they can. And they will be leaving now. This 2-2 post, Viking able to find a full rifle here, will be a much needed upgrade. And that will be NDCL's first round on their attacking half, coming from a full bomb plant and explosion.
Yeah, moving into the 4th round of the second half. I want to see that momentum continued. Want to see this squad continue that momentum in this next match. I want to see just this team figure something out. We've saw 3 straight in this first half. We need to see something similar out of this Notre Dame squad if they want a chance to get back into this. Down 5 rounds right now. They have a little bit of leeway if they do need to give up around tier 2 here and there, but they can't really afford much more at this point. They've got to be able to find a way back in, as it will be an A hit once more. Utility going out, hit will continue, as we will see Bacta on the Neon. Oh, goes in, gets one. We'll get a second. 2 great kills to start out this round. Now going up top, gonna go through the back of sight to envelop the pressure here. One more. NG will be able to get the first kill onto Bacta, taking out that Neon ult. And the dog in from Sky is going to be able to find this information, allow NG and friends to move in here. They will be on site. They are playing for the defuse here. Got to figure this out. The tap coming in. It looks like it's going to be a stick from Zyrus. We'll continue to stick it. Verna can't quite get the kill. Oh my gosh, what a defuse. What a stick by Zyrus. Oh my lord. How's that saying it goes? Only pros don't stick it, something along those lines?
Pros don't fake. But
Pros
also,
don't fake.
even on that, something that I have to say on that comment, that post plant with the plant position was just a little bit off. That gap was due to the plant being closer to a default position instead of the pure safe right on the rope on the side. If it was planted purely there, that post plant position completely makes sense. It's a very easy peek. You can play back and forth, play with the time. But the position was a little bit too far to the left. It gave Zyrus that little bit of an opening and allowed him to really play just be able to stick that bomb defuse and be able to secure that round. It was incredibly close and really looked winnable for the side of NDCL, but it ended up just being unable to do it because of those minute differences. And these are the things that we look for when we're talking about some of the best teams.
Zyrus, after getting that clutch, will be taken out immediately. Now, NG playing back a sight, just taking pop shots at each other, and it looks like it will be a rotate after NG gets his first kill, and it will be 4-4. Actually, rotate no longer happening. We'll be sticking to this B site. Batman will get NG down, and now they'll rotate after getting the kill down. All 3 members of Louisville have rotated, so this rotate could be huge if Notre Dame can pull it out correctly. Watching out for mid. But the rotate has been read from Louisville, and it will look like most likely we'll get a plant down. If not, actually they are going to slow it down a little bit. So we will see combat before we see a plant go down here. Waiting.
30
Through
seconds
Hazard.
left.
And then ILG and Batman will get traded out.
Last player
And it
standing.
will be a 3v1 Hazard on the back line. Here's the smoke go down. Here's a plant. Tries to satchel to deny the plant. And unfortunately, Striker will take him out. And it will be a 6th round in favor of this Notre Dame squad.
Yep. Another round. It's a slow crawl back, but they are on the offensive half, and a half that they can really just sort of make their own, depending on how the pace that they want to play with this. I will say we've been seeing a bit of a late resurgence from Farna here, now going even, but he's been finding a lot of impactful frags here. Even though he's at the top, even with just being at the top, he's also found a lot of impact with those kills.
Yeah, that's exactly what you need. Especially out of your initiator. Like sometimes if initiator is purely for info, but if you can find an initiator that gets that info and also gets good frags, gets good damage, as it can be massive. Could be the difference between winning and losing a game. As we will see 2 straight kills coming out from back to Ferna. Ferna getting a 3rd now, and it will be a 5v3 as Cyrus gets the first one back. The plant going down on this B site. Cyrus, one more. Down to a 3v2, 19 health left. And it will be a flank here from NG. Is spotted out though. They know about the flank. Playing up close. We'll get one. Does not know about the one behind. We'll get taken out. And it will be Cyrus in a 1v2. One behind yellow. We'll get one.
Remaining.
And he needs to play this
That's a
with pace,
3.
but the other issue is that KJ turret with him being at such low health. He needs to find something. The KJ Molly off
Big
the
kill.
bank will get the kill, but the question is, will there be the time? I believe there will be just that.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got it.
It'll be incredibly close.
Nah, he's got it.
Yeah,
Clutch.
to confirm with a .19 left. Insane good moves from Louisville, putting them up onto match point. And that round was important to see. If we look towards the economy, the side of NDCL, incredibly low buy here, or actually incredibly mixed buy, my bad. A lot of rifles, but then some incredibly low SMGs on the side of the Neon. It's the agent that you want to see with that, being able to play the pace that's necessary. But again, incredibly low buys, an incredibly important round for Cyrus to play. A round that, even after that, Louisville would have been able to buy, but being able to buy and being able to shut the enemy team down on that point is just, it's something.
It was huge. Now pushing in for a possible last round. All Louisville needs to do here is either prevent the plant, which looks like it won't happen, or be able to get a defuse on the retake. They will be playing for the retake here. NG on the back side will shoot out the eye immediately. That second one comes out. Now it's gone Striker. No more eyes left. Cyrus gets a kill. Pushing in. The ult does go down though. This makes this retake way harder for this Louisville squad. Ferna and oh my gosh, just 3 kills coming right out the bat. Cyrus gets 2, NG gets 1, and one final one for NG, and it will be a defuse coming out from this Louisville squad. One more round, 1-0 in the series, and it will be a lead for Louisville as we move into map number 2 here.
Absolutely, and a great way to start this out. Louisville kind of showing, again, why they're here and why they battle back. They were one of our teams that qualified through the play-in, so they were not a direct like team to play. And as we look toward that scoreboard, we're going to see NG and Cyrus taking up that top place, with Farna, with that late resurgence, able to take us into those later map rounds, really making it doable and look doable for NDCL. Unfortunately, them unable to scrape it fully across the board as we move in towards our next set of maps. A few on the board. It'll be interesting to see exactly what gets picked after this short break. So we will see you in a moment. Catch you in a bit. Yep. So coming into our our second map of Ascent for this NDCL Louisville matchup, we're going to be seeing looks like some pretty bog standards, a little bit of swap up here from from both sides actually. With the Arena pick that was prominent in the last map coming back out and going for more of that double duelist, this Neon Reyna type setup, something that we've seen more of. And for the side of Louisville, even more swap ups, throwing Hazard onto that Jet and throwing NG onto the Rays. A swap of what we had in the last map, but beyond that, some standard stuff for exactly how this map gets played with these styles of setups, the solo Sky, solo Omen, and solo KJ for your initiator controller and dual and
Which do you
sentinel.
like more? Do you like the Jet or you like the Neon here?
The Jet way more. The Neon, I feel like there are a lot of positions that Jet can simply play better that Neon just can't. Especially when it comes to things like mid, when you look towards opping, when you look towards your aggression, the dash that Jet has just provides you so much space at such a fast pace. Neon's able to cover more over a longer period of time, but Ascent's a pretty cramped map as far as everything goes. You don't need that full coverage that you would need for something like a Breeze or, you know, an Icebox or something.
Yeah, I feel like Neon is a pretty rare pick on this map overall. I don't feel like Reyna is a crazy pick. I feel like it's a little bit off meta, but I feel like it's not crazy, especially if you're really relying on that person to hit their shots and to chain those shots. Reyna is exactly the pick you want there. As we get into this first round, it is going to be Notre Dame pushing in onto the B site, going through main. Will be looks like a pretty standard hit overall.
Pretty standard startup for this, and especially these guys are going to get a lot more value with this lacking in KO here. With no knife to truly shut down these dogs, we're going to be seeing a bit more of an explosion onto the site here as we see a lot of pressure being put out with the Wicks out on the site, able to find the shot onto NG, battling back and forth. It's a 2v4 post plant here for NDCL, requiring them to play incredibly well. Hazard able to find the first, leaving Bacta in the clutch with the Sheriff though, so a little bit more stopping power behind his shots. He'll be able to find two, but it will stop there. First round going the way of Louisville.
I mean, a solid round overall from Louisville. Gave up sight, was able to play the retake well. Some good shots out of Bacta, and Wicks able to get themselves some nice kills to start off there. But it will be a first round. 2 players left alive on the Louisville squad. And once again, we will be moving into the second round with a Louisville advantage. Will be I believe it should be, if you look at the map, or look at the board, it should be probably a bonus here. Yeah, you can see it above the players. The bonus coming out from Louisville, very common. I mean, you win round 1, you want to press that advantage because you know the other team most likely isn't going to be buying. And it will be an A hit, switching things up immediately from Notre Dame. And the one-way coming out immediately, Hazard unable to take advantage. And it will be a split, actually. We see some people going mid here.
Yep, we're going to see a little bit of that pressure coming down. Pretty common for these lower buys here to try and provide pressure on both sides, looking towards a little bit of split play, relying on indecision potentially to get your kills, as your stopping power is going to be a lot less with just those pistols against something like a Guardian or a Spectre. You see Zyrus able to pick up 2 there from the tree position, and it will leave the only man left, Wicks, in this 1v4, able to find one, but will get taken down by Hazard. The round going to Louisville, and a little bit of damage there coming out from the pistols, able to find 2. Not necessarily meaning that you're going to be playing a full buy into what could act as a full buy, but you're going to be playing it into some slightly worse weapons, some slightly less damaging profiles.
Moving into this map, something I always like to talk about when I cast Ascent is the wallbang ability that this map is, and it's unprecedented by any other map. Is just how many walls here are wallbangable, and especially this B site, that wall that you're looking straight at, extremely bangable. Was we will see a wall bang coming out right away. Unfortunately, no kills right there, but it's something that we were going to see throughout this series, or throughout this map, and it could play a very large role, and I want to see how these teams take advantage or deal with the wall bangs that will be coming out that like almost inevitably throughout the series.
Yes, this is a map where knowledge of which walls you can shoot through is paramount because not only of how long it's been in the competitive meta, but of how prevalent that is. There are a lot of sites and a lot of things that are completely determined by your spray that's coming out. This collapse from NDCL is incredibly good. They're playing like with those rifles, so they're playing to kind of just abuse the fact that they can just take these ones and win them out with the better guns. And they have some people on here who have been truly putting numbers up and are able to rival the aim of some of these NDCL, of some of these Louisville players. But as we have this 4v1, it will be the final kill coming out from Striker, giving us NDCL's first round.
Love that. Love it coming sooner than it did last game. 2-1 on scoreline is much better than a 6-0 scoreline that we saw in that first map. Hopefully this is a little bit more back and forth. I can see it turning that way. I think that these rounds from the start have been a lot closer. We saw utter domination in the first 3 rounds. These rounds have all been very close. I'm very excited to see how these teams move into this, as it will be once more a hit out of this Notre Dame squad. Back to trying to sprint in. We'll immediately peek, and it does seem like it's going to be a full buy and a full pressure on this A side out of Notre Dame.
Yep, and Hazard getting smoked out and will just get spammed, and it looks like NDCL will be backing out. They've taken the space that they wanted, and they've applied the pressure that they wanted, and so now they're looking for a potential rotate, but we've got the side of NG here sitting in tiles. Is going to be able to hear a lot of these footsteps, a lot of this trampling, and might be teed up for a massive multi-kill. Letting them start to go.
Only gets
and
one.
only able to find one, but the aggression from IG finds multiple. And now they're stuck in a 2v2 where they are completely crunched from the side of Louisville. Now they're going to be looking at the side of NDCL with Batman and Striker are going to be looking for some sort of space. And now it's all left on to Striker. The 1v2 here for the Reyna is going to be doable, but not necessarily easy. Door closed, moving into site, looking to get that bomb plant down. Potentially even wait and get an early pick.
Love this.
Before things move on.
Loving this aggression here from Striker. Although it does back down to get the plan out. I love that aggression though, playing smart, playing in a spot where if the other team decided to push out a little lackadaisically, he was able to get kills. Unfortunately, unable to get the kill on Zyrus there, and it will be a 3rd round in favor of Louisville here. Louisville, their mid rounds have been kind of but the beginning and ends of the rounds are where they're winning these rounds. And obviously, if you have better ends of rounds, it's usually gonna help you out more than better mid rounds.
Yep, I feel like one of the main things is just it's more or less that NDCL's mid-rounding has been pretty good. They've had very clear plans at the starts of rounds. It's a matter of how they respond to the pressure, because we've seen good rounds where it's like the round that they won, they had a very clear plan of how they wanted to approach that with the higher buy. They wanted to play A, play it fast, and abuse the fact that they had that killing potential. And because they were allowed to do that, they simply did. But when pressure starts to get applied to them, and they start to have to figure out what they want to do with their rounds, that's when things start to get a little bit sticky, and you have to start looking towards how does the adaptation kind of play into this. So you see Hazard here sitting with the judge, potentially looking for some sort of early pick. Will face into one, but will not find anything. And with that, the explosion is called from the side of NDCL. The Neon of Bacta moving up fast, taking up as much space as they can without giving up any kills to Louisville. And now Ulysville in a full heaven situation, looking to potentially retake a large grouping towards Cat.
Double KJ ult.
Yep, 2 KJ ults back to back will be applying a lot of pressure. It'll have to be respected both ways, something that the attacker KJ actually was able to get taken down. The raise nade was exactly how it needed to be, finding one and one more on the site, stuck out,
Placing alarm.
now killed, leaving it in a 2v3 post plant.
One
The
enemy
tree
remaining.
player will be taken down, and it's
Last
a
player
2v1 face
standing.
into the smoke, but a Batman able to find one, able to find two,
Man.
and the final kill from Xerus will
What a
come
round.
out, but the spam was exactly what it needed to be.
That round was everything you could ever ask out of a round, especially a round 5. You go in, the first round where you truly have ults available, both sides, I mean, you see Notre Dame, they push in, they get bombed down, they have advantage, they have their spacing's better, and then both the KJLs go down.
Hmm.
Both the teams scrambling, trying to find ways to get out, trying to not get locked down by the KJL. And you see Notre Dame only able to get 2 players out. 2 players get taken out, which basically is 2 free kills in favor of this, in favor of the Louisville squad. Louisville gets on site, gets on the defuse, and the spray through the smoke is the savior of the round in the 1v2, and it's able to get a kill.
Yeah.
But now we see the timeout coming out from Notre Dame after they I believe they just won this round.
They
I
won the round,
believe.
yeah.
And now immediately a time coming out here. I want to see what this is about. What do you think this is? Why you don't often see a timeout after
Well, I
you
mean,
win
it's
a
because
round?
they won the round out of a 2K spray through smoke.
Fair enough.
It was a complete luck round. There never should have been a reason that NDCL won that round. They were able to. I'm Batman literally just was able to get lucky with the pings and able to spray 2 down through the smoke, giving them a double man or giving them an even man situation in a low time situation. The take of the timeout here makes sense. It's a restructuring tool. It's also a
Time
little
for
bit of a
field test.
stabilization because you come out of that type of round and it's just there's so much adrenaline and emotions. You want to be able to recenter and restabilize. Again,
I've got
NDCL
your
is fighting from a
trail.
map down here. They need to
Yeah,
play.
most definitely.
They need to play incredibly clean, and one of the ways that they are going to go about
Love
doing
There's
that
another.
is by playing very smooth, very
Three.
slow. And they were able to find a lot of that pressure, finding this early ult and this early just collapse onto the site. Xerus only able to find one, but
Spike down
ILG
B.
finding 2 here from the Classic, just sitting in Boathouse. It's a misplay on the side of Louisville, letting him just sit there, or a misplay on the side of NDCL, letting him
One
just sit there.
enemy remaining.
And now it's a man-up situation, all down to Striker.
Man, the resilience out of man ILG with the teleport out just to be able to just confuse Striker some more. We'll be able to get the final kill, and it will be a 3K for him in this fourth round win for Louisville. But I love the resilience, sitting in the back of sight, not letting this Notre Dame's team get a free bomb plant on this B site, and it led to a round win. If Notre Dame gets that bomb plant, that's a way different round.
Oh, yeah. Well, also, it's even a misplay on Notre Dame. They had 3 people facing it, but they only faced the left side. They didn't check the right. And ILG there was just able to sit dug in with his Classic and just kind of wait for something to happen. And then he sees the free play, like what is essentially the free kill. He sees the player just with the bomb out, no care in the world about what having behind him. And then he just sees 2 free kills.
Tell me about the split here. We got 2 on one side, 3 on the other.
I think on the incredibly low buy, it's a little strange. I would have liked to see something more like a death barrel, because when you have something like that, what ends up happening is exactly stuff like that, where players get picked off one by one, and it's like they only have classics, they only have ghosts. You're not losing a lot, but it's a lot harder to pick one. When instead of just the one person facing it, you've got like your entire team facing it. So I would have liked to see something with a little bit more pace coming out from NDCL, especially after a round loss like that. When you tried to play it with pace and it didn't work, I would have liked to see that pace continue, because even though it didn't work, you know why it didn't, so you can make that adaptation as needed. We're going to be seeing the likes of Bacta and Wix start to move in, but literally Batman finding a lot of space,
Spike
unable to
down mid.
convert as Viking peeks out at just the right time,
30
able to
seconds
find
left.
one.
Last player
And
standing.
a little bit of an attempt at a bait and
Flawless.
switch setup, but Viking just able to find one and finds the second.
Spray transfer's great there.
Yeah,
Love
very
that.
good spray transfer.
reckon morale's
And that
gonna
is
be
a 5th
pretty
round
low
in favor of
over there.
Louisville. Strong from start to finish. Of course, there was a low buy coming out of Notre Dame, so it was expected a little bit. Would have loved to see some heroics, but unfortunately, our eyes were not blessed in that department. In this next round, we will see as you requested, a more structured and, as you said, death barrel approach.
Death barrel.
Going into this next round, it looks like it's going to be actually, they're going to wait a little bit for this B push. I like it.
I think it's a counterplay, expecting Louisville to play with a little bit more pace, especially after they've been able to kind of stretch their legs in these last few rounds. But I think the way that Louisville has been able to stretch their rounds, or just be able to stretch their legs in these last rounds, has been from the pace that NDCL has been playing their rounds with. They've been given the ability to just kind of play into the pace of NDCL, and we see that coming out from ILG, able to find two, Viking getting the first, unable to find a second, and a massive rally back from Farna, able to find two, Wicks with one, but Hazard just cleaner on it, able to find the final two, giving Louisville another round.
That timing almost lost the round.
Oh yeah, very much. It very well could have.
Because you got your gun out there, you get killed, and it's what, a 4-1 in favor of them, instead of you getting killed, two more dying, and it being a 3v2, I believe it was, or 2v2, something along those lines. So that missed timing was close to costing around there, although fortunately, if you're a Louisville fan, it was not, and it will be a 6th round in favor of them, as it will be, once again, a little bit of a split hit here, mostly leaning towards this A side.
This Omen setting in tiles is a pretty common play that I like to do with my team, being the Omen, but also being a player who understands how to find like the timings like this. I will say the lack of Omen util is another thing that I like to see. They're not just throwing it out willy-nilly, they're waiting, they're biding their time. And now with that Rain of Flash coming out, I would expect to see the smokes coming in, but actually it's just going to be the complete silent as the Omen starts to find space and walks up. Batman able to get a little bit of leeway and is now sitting in pizza. However, that will leave Hazard a free liability to just sit on this angle and watch that market rotate. He will choose not to move back into the B site, opting for a more standard hold. However, this bump will allow Viking to move up. Not expecting Batman, but is able to find the kill and is unable to find anything after that. The pace from Bacta able to win it out. And with a rifle recovered, this round becomes slightly more achievable.
Now,
with Hazard sitting in the back, is able to find a little bit, but ILG doing the same thing that he did with Classic a few rounds ago, just sitting in the back of sight and is able to find a lot. Bacta able to take him out, but it's a very labored takedown. NG finding one, leaving it down to Bacta, who will be taken out by NG once more.
Man, NG, you saw that Reyna ult come out and immediately shut down. Not even a chance for Reyna to give any sort of momentum in that situation. It will be a 7th round in favor of Louisville. We're saying that a lot at this point.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a good streak here.
It's been
4
a good
rounds
4 rounds
straight.
I will say the other thing when we look at this, not only this team, but these rounds and kind of how they're coming out, the one thing that I will say is that this has been a relatively, compared to our standards, quiet game for NG. Only with 6 kills here, getting out-fragged by 3 of his fellow teammates. But that's one of the things that's great to look at when you look at how these teams are going to perform later. Again, these games set you up on games that qualify you to the state finals here for ESO. These are games where your form matters, and your performance in these games is going to set up how well you're going to perform in these final sets. So seeing a team that is not just the one-trick pony of they only have the one person that can frag, or they only have the one play style that works, being able to show that there is depth to this play, and there is depth to how these rounds are gone about, is something that's great to see, as you know, it's going to be required when you go up against these higher facing teams. Now all down to Batman here, is able to find 1 and 2, but unable to find more beyond that. An incredible retake from Louisville, an incredibly solid retake from Louisville, not only going fast, but able to close things out with decisiveness, only losing 2 players to that final one, and it was a triple face. So he found almost all that he could have, but by pure numbers, it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, and once again, we looked at the last 2 rounds, and 2 ults have been popped and immediately was killed on Notre Dame side. I mean, that's mostly luck on the Louisville side, but still extremely unfortunate if you're Notre Dame. You want those ults to have purpose, have value, and just not getting any value of the last two ults. And moving into this next round here, it is going to be a mid-swing from everybody on this Notre Dame squad, pushing down,
Yep.
being very quiet, very slow push here. NG will be peeking out here. Will be able to get one. Doesn't know about the other four, though, yet. We will be able to hear a lot more now. Batman getting the trade. Zyrus up close. Unable to get one. Hazard gets one. Zyrus gets two. And it will be a 1v4 here. Batman, everything on his shoulders. I mean, he is literally Batman. So this is not his first time being in this situation. He's going to smoke through. Does get the blind out. Unfortunately, the cross works out. And Zyrus will get a third and a 9th round in favor of Louisville here as we head into the final round of this half.
Last round in
Louisville
the
looking
half.
for a more dominant scoreline coming into this second half than they even had on the first, which is guaranteed at this point. The worst scoreline they can come into is a 9-3, and even then you're moving into an attack-sided map where you've shown that you have not only your two duelists that are willing to take very aggressive aim fights, but the rest of your team is able to take those fights and win them. So you've got a lot of people who are just ready to take the aggression straight to them. So there really is no massive pressure relying on Louisville for this round. It obviously would be nice to have the 10-2 half going into the final, you know? Obviously make it a little bit easier for you to work through it, but it's not necessarily a requirement for them to do. Batman going in for this TP play, I like this. It gives them a lot of space, but I do wonder what it'll end up being with the retake coming out from Louisville. The ult is invested here, and the combination of Hazard and NG coming from Heaven is going to be finding a lot of value. Hazard finding one, and one player sitting in line that is going to be back to who will be getting flash, but is going to have to go for the aggression, unable to find one, and it's just going to be Hazard sticking the defuse. NG finds the last. It's a 10-2 half for the side of Louisville.
What crazy aggression out of NG.
Switching
NG and
sides.
Zyrus push through the smoke because they know they're all back there because of the ult. And the four kills and only one death is absolutely insane coming out of this final play of the half. And it will be Louisville up 10-2, more of an advantage that they had in the last game, up by 2 rounds at this point. And only 3 rounds away from a semi-final spot at this point. If you're on the Notre Dame squad side, you need to be able to find a way to push through this adversity. The pressure's against you, the cards are stacked against you. You don't know what's going to happen in these next few rounds, but you need to make all the impact you can. If you're listening, which you shouldn't be, but if you're listening, Notre Dame, something has to happen right now.
And that could have been the greatest setup for a frag, but unfortunately nothing will be found. The one thing that I will say that I like about this Notre Dame team, the willingness to expand out. However, with the 4-man face, it is a very early rotate call, and with Zyrus just finding an open site here, it is just going to be that first frag found onto the KJ, second one onto Batman, and that is just going to be the open site here. Zyrus able to find a great lurk timing, and the rest of the team moving in through mid. Hazard gets taken down, but the rest of that team, including the bomb, should just be going for that cross. Farna finding one, getting trading out by Viking, and that will leave Striker in the 1v3.
Striker pushing in. He knows Vikings to his left, and he hears the plant go down. We'll be pushing through spawn instead.
Spike planted.
We'll hesitate, though, assuming the flank is coming. This is a position where you want to push in and you want to try. It is one of the better positions if you are going to go for this. But he is going to get flanked from behind, pushing in without checking his corners. NG will be able to get the final kill, and it will be an 11th round in favor of Louisville. 2 away from a semi-final spot.
2 away. And this is where I always like to look at buys here. It's always interesting to see what teams go for in situations like this. Zyrus obviously is going to be going for that Vandal. He has the money for it. He's going to be going. But the rest of the team is going to be going for this full buy. In these rounds like this 11-2 up, if you lose this, I sometimes like to have one player just by incredibly little, if anything at all, and just save for a rifle the next, because you know that the team is going to have to full invest into this. The defensive side is going to be going for some sort of play here. As Striker is pushed out front, unable to find with the Bucky, and that was the solo hold of NDCL on this defensive site. This double aggression from Hazard and NG, a little bit scrappy, not quite as coordinated as it could have been, but it will work. Get both players on site, get that bomb planted, and force Louisville into a 3v5 retake, now a 2v4.
As we see 2 players left for this Notre Dame squad. They have another round that they can use, but they really wouldn't like to use it. Back to has a rifle. He's able to push in. Wicks will get one. It will turn into a 3v2. Back to pushing in through heaven, and we'll actually find one, turn it into a 2v2. Don't know where the last 2 are. And Hazard and ILG will take the final 2 out as they drop down from heaven, trying to play with some speed, but immediately taken down. And it is match points, ladies and gentlemen, and series point as well. Everything on the line here. Notre Dame has to find something now.
They have to find a sort of start. They have to find their footing on this defensive half, and they have to make a 10-round flawless run back if they wish to put this into overtime.
Yeah, no, I am hoping so much for a continuance of this series, but it doesn't look very great for Notre Dame here, as it is going to be a little bit of a split push here from this Louisville side. Just waiting, taking the time. Gonna take the alt orb and then actually rotate back across. Batman pushing through with the Bucky here. Really taken out by Hazard. That's great.
And that's the ghost button. They find that they took one out. They know that he was on a low buy. They're just going to start going back. They're able to find one onto Hazard, but NG is still here, able to start moving forward into this side. The attacker KJ alt being invested. Wicks able to stick in the corner, finds one. Not going to be able to find the second as ILG is able to run around, and it is going to be back to left in this 1v2. He's got a Guardian. He's got some health to work with. And he's got a doable situation, but it is incredibly unlikely that he is to find these last 2 kills. As IGL goes out, it's a double swing and a 13-2 victory for the side of Louisville. The second map that they needed to find, and now they will be moving into the semis.
Yeah, Louisville, dominant performance, arguably a more dominant performance than the map we saw in game number 1.
And if we want to talk about dominance in performance, we can look at this scoreboard right here. As you will notice, this is individually sorted.
Nobody above double-digit kills on the... Oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah, this is a full just show of why Louisville is here. They came from our play-ins, again, but they are showing why they are here in this tournament to play for a spot at States. Their semifinals match, if it has been decided, is looking like it will be against Mayfield Valorant. So that'll be an 8 and a 4 seed taking on each other. We'll be right back at you. I'm not entirely sure which game will be shown next. We've got a couple of great options from our semis.
I believe they're both being shown one after another, I believe.
Okay. We may have both games for you then. With our pace so far, we may try to extend this day out and make things a little bit more fun for y'all who are watching. But until then, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back at you with more action.